Check what to the Fat Mackcity, Almighty Triple XL, coming at y'all live and direct from Mackcity.com, Mackcity Limits Radio Show, and PowerAndStrategy.com. Me and my co-host over here, Cole Lampin, man, in the Fortress of Solitude, man. We about to have some fun, man. About to have some fun. The gift to keep on giving, which is YouTube. We have a young man who let me see, I guess he has the cojones to step into the arena, and he's going to be the champion for Shawn James. Okay, everybody, give a round of applause to this young cat, this dude named Young Mgtow Fox. Young Mgtow Fox, my nizzle, man. What's happening with you, man? Hey, we love the fact that, you know, you got the balls to step into the arena. But, my brother, I don't even know where to start with this shit, man, because you so all over the place and you just totally just missing the point, period, of what we've done. Basically, I guess this cat, he did not like the video that we did pertaining, the latest video that we did about Shawn James, which was called what was it called?
The Rise of the Born Incel.
Rise of the Born Incel. Okay, he was somewhat triggered by that, so he made his own response to it, and I listened to it, and I'm like, well, to be honest and to be fair, he didn't listen to our other 3 videos leading up to that. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of shit that was left out as far as contextually that he didn't understand and he didn't get. You know what I mean? There's some things that he basically brought up that he thought we should have brought up, which we actually did bring up. But anyway, this is definitely really going to be Tony's joint right here, because obviously the homeboy, he didn't really have the patience or the discipline to stick with the whole presentation. And bro, before I comment on a book, before I critique a book, before I basically give my opinion on a book, I read the whole goddamn book. I just don't read one chapter of this shit, you feel me? But I guess young Mgtow Fox believes he has those sort of superpowers where he can do that. He can deduce the whole rhythm of a presentation just by reading a couple sentences, you feel me? So Tony, go ahead, I'm gonna hand it off to you, man. And once again, Mgtow, I am Big Mike, also known as Professor X, also known as AKA Fat Mac Triple XL. And this over here, because throughout the video, he kept calling you Mac.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This right here, this is Magnus. This is Magneto, right? This is Zatoichi. This is Tony Maceo. This is Nigga Fuchsius. Okay? There's a myriad of aliases that we go by. But the man who is about to address you right now, that is not Mac. I am Mac. And I guess he had some sort of bone to pick, the fact that every time you say something, I go, okay.
Oh, yeah, you were the one with bad ebonics.
Yeah.
You just co-signed.
Yeah, bad ebonics. Yeah,
first of all, let's get it straight.
Go ahead.
He's the rapper, I'm the DJ. That's probably a little before your time, son. So I'm going to talk. You thought that we wouldn't listen to you. We heard you. And I'm going to extend you the courtesy that you didn't extend to us. I listened to all of your videos, both sections. And I assure you, I mean, this is so petty. A debate is really silly, but if you want to have one, I'm more than open to having a debate from you. I'm not going to run from somebody with 4 subscribers, son.
Hey, do not.
Okay.
No mudslinging, sir.
Okay, no mudslinging.
No mudslinging.
All right. So what we're going to do, since you pulled out parts of my video, or parts of our video, excuse me, and you pulled it out of context, and what you did was you pulled it out and you attempted to reply or refute our points. So one, good turn deserves another. So I'm going to respond to you in kind. And again, I'm going to give you the courtesy that you didn't extend to us. So therefore, roll it.
Before I do that, we gotta be fair. You know, our shit is 90 minutes long. What this nigga do? What
17 minutes, 16 minutes.
Okay, all right.
That's what he did.
Well, you know, that's like we had the discipline to stick around for a half hour to listen to his shit.
Well, he said no grown man would have an hour, hour and a half, or a half hour to do a video. You see what I'm saying? And I don't know where he's been on, because most of the dudes on there, most of your most successful YouTubers do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've seen 8 hour, hangouts. So that just goes to show me that somebody.
He's out of touch, man.
Yes, somebody's out of touch, and somebody got hit with the stone. Somebody's hollering.
Someone's triggered.
Someone's triggered. Okay? But you come here, I'm going to give you what you're looking for. I don't think this is what you want, but I'm going to give you what you're looking for. Okay? So, go ahead.
Let's go. Let's get it with my baddie Bonix. Let's go.
The video. This time I'm responding to Mackcity Limits Radio. And I guess this guy, Tony, or whatever he calls himself, Mac Man, is responding to a video by Shawn James, who is a fellow Mgtow of mine. And I usually don't jump in to defend Mgtows, but I didn't enjoy Mac's take on the problem with Shawn James. And while I appreciate and I respect his criticisms and his right to have it, I thought that he left out key points in defense of Shawn James, which he should take into consideration. On top of that, he made at the beginning of the video a reference to X-Men because Shawn James is a fan of comic books, which really doesn't hold any water in the current romantic climate that we live in. And I think that it was just sort of an ass backwards reference. So he starts off the video opening up by making the X-Men reference to mutants living underground who are hideously deformed, who remove themselves from society, basically comparing them to Mgtows who check out of the dating market and focus on themselves, as most of us do. But
Stop. The analogy I made using comic books is because Shawn James talks in the language of comic books.
Right.
So I spoke to Shawn James in a language that I thought he would understand. So he said that it was bass backwards or ass backwards. Son, that analogy was spot on. You understand?
He never gives his reason why it's ass backwards.
It's just some niggas just want to have something to say.
Right.
They don't really. There was a wonderful quote from the movie The Good Shepherd, starring Matt Damon, and it was when he went to England and he was being tutored by the British in the art of counter-espionage, the black arts of counter-espionage, and the old man, his old mentor, says to him, he says, the mental faculties needed to detect betrayal and conspiracies are the same faculties that will corrode your natural judgment. You see. So what he's saying in essence is that you could be trapped in that world for so long, you start to lose touch on reality. You start losing touch on what you would naturally understand otherwise. What will come to you as self-evident, you begin to become confused about it. Right. This guy, this is my whole, and he says, I don't understand that there are layers. Of course I understand. I'm talking about the hardcore ones. Yes. They've been bathing in this red pill rage so long that they have lost touch with reality. Okay? So when I made that analysis of between the Morlocks and these Mgtows that have sworn off women, okay? The fact of the matter is this. The Morlocks were a group of mutants that didn't even try to fight for their liberation. At least if the X-Men were trying to blend in and they had a degree of anonymity, they were willing to go and fight to maintain their existence. Right. The Morlocks hid beneath the tunnel like a bunch of damn rats. Extreme Mgtow. Extreme Mgtow. Extreme Mgtow.
So Mr. Fox, you got your wish, nigga, right here. When we talk about the levels of Mgtow, we are talking about extreme Mgtows. And we thought that individuals who are in the Mgtow or familiar with Mgtow would know naturally who we are talking about. Evidently, you need to brush up on your Mgtow, nigga, because it's obvious that, you know, the extreme Mgtows would fit this description. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, that's good. That's who we were talking about. Hiding in the corner like a bunch of damn sniveling incels, complaining about feminine and sexual, or the sexual nature of women, complaining about feminine nature, dropping out of society and hiding. Now, if you want to go become a monk, go become a monk. If you want to, personally, if that's your choice and that's what you want to do, then fine, then go do that. But for anyone else that is going to live in this world, you may not want to, but there are a lot of other men that are going to keep enjoying the company of women, young man. People are not going to stop fucking just because they understand or just because they become acquainted with what you call red pill knowledge. It's red pill. What is it? Red pill awareness? I'm sorry. Because when they become acquainted with red pill awareness, they're not going to go into a corner. People are going to keep right on having sex. If you choose to do so, that's your business. So when we're talking about, or when I speak about red pill awareness, I'm talking to those men, or I'm admonishing those men that are going to keep dating. Those men that are not going to snivel in the corner and whine and bitch and moan about feminine nature.
And may I also interject here with my ebonics, sir, that Mgtow does not sit in the corner and snivel and whine about shit. Mgtow goes out there
and brings the war.
That's right. He brings more. He give you that work, son. You can't compare no motherfucking Mgtow to the Morlocks. Kind of comic books you read, nigga? Man,
I don't think he reads much of anything, just like he doesn't listen to much of anything. So that Morlock analogy was spot on to the extreme Mgtow sector. That's what you're doing. You're hiding in the corner. You're hiding beneath the sewer like rats, while everyone else is out here living in this society. If you think that you're going to exist in this society and not be affected by what goes on in this society, you're seriously delusional.
That is extreme Mgtow. Now you could actually say, I mean, he has a point by basically stating that Mgtow is actually counterculture. He's actually counter to what society is actually saying is norm. So Mgtow himself would be a form of Mgtow, but he would not be an extreme Mgtow.
Actually, in the comic book and on the television series, Mgtow is fighting so that they can come out from the sewers.
Right.
He wants them to come above ground and stop hiding in the corner. Matter of fact, that's a direct quote. Hiding beneath the sewers, or hiding and shivering like rats. That's a direct quote. So if anything, he's fighting for the equality and for the humanity of the Morlocks.
Right.
But the Morlocks are so afraid that they're not willing to fight for themselves. So consequently, they're the first ones slaughtered.
Right.
They're the first mutants to become practically extinct. I think, well, let me not say extinct, but endangered. Because in the comic book, they're totally wiped out. You understand?
Right.
Because they're not willing to, and that's what the extreme sector of Mgtow is to me. They're a bunch of deformed men that have been so scarred by rejection from women, that have been so scarred by the ugly or the dark side of female sexual nature, that they are now cowering and hovering and shivering in the damn corner like rats, complaining and screaming about feminine nature as if that's going to change anything. And realistically, to me, he's talking about feminism, how it was a response to feminism. It is a response to feminism. Matter of fact, it's such a response to feminism, you have become the male form of feminism. You have become a mirror of that which you are fighting against. You have become, I didn't think this was possible, and this may be an oxymoron, but y'all have become male feminists. That's what you have become. A bunch of damn emasculated male feminists, choking and suffocating and strangling on that damn red pill, to the point where you're losing touch with everything around you. You're losing touch with basic human nature. You're losing touch with basic biology. You motherfuckers don't even understand biology no more, but that's the hazard of sitting there reading all that shit, and your people IQ is declining. It's regressing. It's eroding. I understand where you're coming from, young man, because I struggle with that myself. You can sit there and read and consume so much information in books till you start losing touch with reality. And that's where you guys are. So you are Morlocks. You are sort of a form of deformed humanity that is now cowering and hiding in the motherfucking corner, afraid to face the light of day because the shit you learn hurts your feelings, or the shit you learn about women frighten you. Well, the world is not going to stop because you're afraid. And that's the problem we had with Shawn James. The problem we had, or the criticism, I'm not going to say problem. The criticism we had with Shawn James is that Shawn James didn't understand what was going on right in front of him. He didn't understand what was going on around him. He couldn't interpret when his safety, when his life was in danger. He was so delusional that he couldn't understand when this man was about to victimize him.
Hey, check it out, man. You know, let's talk about the whole concept of him. Well, this is just opinions. This is just an opinionated opinion piece.
Like Shawn James, isn't it?
I'm like, nigga, like what video on YouTube is it chock full of opinions?
Shawn James shit is full of opinions.
It's all opinions. You know, he bring that up like that's some supposed to discredit what we spitting.
Negro, your shit is opinions.
Your shit is opinions, nigga. Where you get these niggas from, man? God damn it, let's proceed, man.
Then he goes on to say that Mgtow, being the evil version of a mutant, I guess, representing the evil side of mutants, is there to keep checks and balances over the evil side of humanity, which would seek to eliminate all mutants. My question is to Mackcity, how is Mgtow different? How is Mgtow not a response to the evil
Here's how.
misandrous society?
Here's how. You're in the corner. You're hiding. You're not responding to this society. You are a reaction. You're not responding to anything. You're hovering beneath the sewers like rats. You're afraid to face off against the dark side of female. You have quit. You've left the game. That's why. You've left the game. You ain't even on the field no more. You ain't even in the fight no more. Let's look at your name. Men going their own way. By default, you ain't even here anymore. The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants is also a response. What are they doing?
They proactive.
The X-Men are a response. What are they doing?
Proactive, man.
Mr. Sinister and his Brotherhood are a reaction. What are they doing?
Shit. Putting in that work.
Apocalypse is a reaction. What is he doing?
Putting in that work.
What is men going their own way doing?
Shit. Well, the extreme form.
The extreme form.
They hovering it. They dwelling in the sewer like rats.
Thank you.
Shit, man. Oh my God. Let's just an opinionated opinion piece. Let's go.
Society that we live in, and the evils that feminism has produced. How is not a checks and balances scenario. We see fit to remove ourselves from an equation. How does that factor into anything that you're doing? How does that stop you from progressing?
Now you talk about circular logic. He said we choose to withdraw. You just answered your own question, son. You have withdrawn from society. You are not a response, you are a reaction. You have withdrawn from society. A response responds. It's proactive. It does something. You've already admitted that you're gone.
Proceed.
Proceed.
So my whole thing is that they're sort of coming at Shawn James from his personal philosophy, and that's already a losing debate. You're not going to win a debate against some.
We not debating this nigga, man.
We're not.
And we ain't debating you. You know what I'm saying? We critiquing what y'all got to say, and it is what it is. Take it or leave it. It ain't that important for us to sit here and debate with you niggas, man. You know what I mean? I mean, bruh, I've been doing this shit way longer than you, man. You know what I mean? So, dare I say, I know a little bit more about women. I know a little bit more about the so-called concept of Mgtow, men going there. That's the funny thing. They keep talking about, well, you know, men need to focus on themselves. No shit. You know what I mean? They act like, Mgtow came up with that concept of men basically stepping back and just concentrating on building themselves and building their empire and whatnot. You know what I mean? Because if you build it, they will come. Get all that shit, lined up, ducks in a row, man. The broads is going to come, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So
women gravitate to power and wealth, son. In case you didn't know that. Well, that's one of the things it repels. Hypergamy repels them. That's something that they've noticed about female nature that they don't like. Well, you're going to be one frustrated motherfucker. You're going to be one frustrated motherfucker. How can you get mad with a rattlesnake for being a rattlesnake? How can you get mad with a fly or a mosquito for being a fly or mosquito? They do what they do. They just exist in nature. They're part of the natural order of things.
He don't want to deal with natural shit. He don't want to deal with nature, which we'll see coming up later in this shit, man. You know what I mean? He don't want to fuck around with nature. But let's go.
Everybody else's personal philosophy, because it's personal. And another thing that really got under my skin is this brother's video is an hour and 30-minute long, an hour and 30 minutes of fucking opinion piece. And no self-respecting man has enough time to listen to all that. Within the first 10 minutes, I knew it was horseshit, but I gave it about a 20-minute listen for the benefit of the doubt.
So it was so much horseshit that you made 2 response videos to it.
30 minutes.
30 minutes. Yeah, 35 minutes, 34, 35 minutes.
Horseshit
that you made.
You made 35 minutes of horseshit, nigga. But of course, I don't think like this young man. I enjoy discourse. I enjoy the banter, back and forth. Come hither, come hither. I'm trying my best not to sound ebonical, sir. Yeah. I'm trying my best, but yeah, man, I fucks around and see, when I make these shows, I make them to where what I would like to listen to. Due to the fact that I'm at work, a lot of my players are at work. They like, a long program to make their day go faster. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And that's what I make it for. I make it for truck drivers, cats that's working in warehouses or whatever. You know what I mean? They like the long, drawn out discourse and banter that me and my boy Tony do, because it helps their day go by faster, nigga. If you don't like it, kick rocks. Never ever motherfucking listen to our shit again.
Most of the self-respecting men that are listening to our shit are working, Negro. Most of the self-respecting men that are listening to our shit are dudes that are cross-country and on the other side of the planet doing things, Negro. So self-respecting men listen to this podcast. Not only do they listen to this podcast, they enjoy this podcast. And all of those men are productive. We don't entertain bums over here.
Proceed.
They extend the same courtesy to me. So, without further ado, I'm just play a little video clip and give y'all some idea of what we're going.
Wait a second, you said extend the same courtesy to him, as far as listen to his whole shit.
Yeah,
but he didn't do that to us.
No, he didn't.
No. He got so triggered he couldn't hear.
Yeah, because no self-respecting man would listen to an hour and a half of horse shit.
Well, we listen to all your shit, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Learn a little something, boy.
Through with this video. And what exactly Mackcity was doing. So bear with me for a second.
And he fits in as we get to the end of this video. So let's get started here. All right. I've been living what a lot of people would call a men going the wrong way
lifestyle. This is Shawn James audio.
Lifestyle for many years. And I have been living that lifestyle before the phrase Mgtow or men going their own way was ever coined. I've always been a guy who followed his own path and went to the beat of a different drummer. And I went this way, I believe.
Let me stop here. I got to stop at the beginning. Shawn James just told you guys who and what he is. Shawn James has this is the opening salvo of his war against evolution in my eyes.
Okay.
Shawn James has said.
All right, I'm gonna stop him right there
Mgtow
and take time to respond to the first point. He said, which was clearly an opinion, that Shawn James is going against evolution, or as in the war against evolution. So I shouldn't be getting too uppity about it because that's an opinion. But if we look historically in a historical context, a lot of men didn't reproduce. Slaves didn't really reproduce, even though...
We gotta stop here. I'm trying to figure out, well, what doesn't he understand? Whenever we do these videos, man, these niggas are like, just so staunchly just want to grab onto the fact that, or not the fact that, well, but the illusion that we're saying all. You know what I mean? All men do this. You know what I mean? Well, it should be just kind of like a no-brainer that, no, we're just speaking in generalities, just in general. You know what I mean? Why don't they comprehend this, Tony?
Because what they're doing is being disingenuous. See, what you do is you grab on to some little insignificant or immaterial part of an argument, and you think that if you disprove that little immaterial part of the argument, that invalidates the argument altogether.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like if I go to the police station and identify a suspect, and I say that the suspect was wearing a red shirt, blue pants, and he had on, let's say, light blue tennis shoes, or whatever it is. Okay, and then the police come back and say, well, okay, we got somebody matching that description. I said he's 6'5" and he's about 275 pounds. And then the police will come back and say, well, we got somebody 6'5", 275 pounds, wearing blue pants with, you know, the sneakers, but the shirt is not red, it's burgundy.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So they'll latch on and say, see there, it's not red, it's burgundy. So that means that your identification was incorrect. Even though this motherfucker's standing there with his hands dripping in blood, he got, you know, cut marks, you know, knife marks on his fingers or cut marks on his fingers where he stabbed the son of a bitch. And he has the victim's skin under his fingernails. But because I said he had a red shirt on instead of a burgundy shirt on, under that logic, what that does is that invalidates my eyewitness testimony because some immaterial fact was off.
Right.
It's what people do when they're trying to, when they don't really have an argument for you. So what they're trying to do is pick apart some little small, minute detail in order to invalidate your argument. You see what I'm saying? It's being ridiculous.
Right.
You know, it's some feminine shit. It's what women do.
No doubt, man. Hey, if y'all wondering, man, yeah, I'm coming at this nigga kind of greasy, man, because, you know, this nigga, he was kind of greasy, man. So, go give him that work. Let's go.
In the Americas, they got married. You know, take slavery, you know, in any, you know, the Arabic slave trade. No slaves were getting reproduced. I mean, no slaves were marrying. That's, you know, a Christian ideology. So, they were, marriage was a privilege to the rich and fortunate.
Okay, I'm lost here. He's actually comparing slaves not being able to reproduce to Shawn James?
Yeah, because he's latching on to the part where I said, well, he has, it's a war against evolution. And what I was talking about is, one, the imperative that man has always had to either want to procreate or defend himself.
Right.
That's what I was talking about. He done swung way off into something about marriage. You see what I'm saying? He's talking about the Arab slave trade. No, I'm talking about those things that are natural to human beings, that are biological imperatives, that are biological functions of the human existence. That's what I'm talking about. But he's taken this and swung in another direction because he really doesn't know what he's talking about. Like he said, he didn't listen to the video. And what he heard was that incel. That's what's disrupted him.
Triggered that.
That's what triggered him. The fact that we call Shawn James a born incel. That's what he doesn't like. And he sees an aspect of that in himself.
He's a born incel.
Exactly.
There's no doubt.
That's exactly. So
look at this nigga, Charlie, a born incel.
So
look at this nigga, man.
He's coming for us. This is one of Shawn James's acolytes.
Oh, no, say it ain't so.
Oh, yes, it is.
Go get that work, Fox.
Majority of men who had children, first off, were not getting married. The majority of men who were poor...
Don't have shit to do with what we talking about.
Has nothing to do with it.
And that is, you know, throughout the history of the world. If you look at the statistical data, it'll confirm that. Vast majority of men.
Another number crunching ass nigga.
Let me tell you, and here's what they love to do. They love to cite statistics as though those statistics are absolute. For every statistic, and this is what I had a problem with Obsidian with. He would often miscite, misread or misrepresent information.
Right.
And then when they would get this information, they didn't even have the sense to see if there was any information that countered those statistics. For every statistic he can produce in favor of his argument, I can produce 10 that are against his argument.
Right.
They don't understand statistics or scientific evidence. The scientific community is always in conflict about what's true, because you have some scientists that will propose this theory and their statistics support their theory. This group of scientists over here have their theory and this group over here support their theories. So just because you present statistics, that doesn't make your argument or your point definitive. So let me be equally honest from my position. If I was to cite statistics, there are at least 10, 15, 20 statistics out there that would disagree with what I'm saying. It's a discussion. It's an argument. The jury is not in yet. Nothing has been established as scientific fact. It hasn't come back that this is absolutely true, that this is empirically true. So I get sick of them thinking that because they cite statistics, that that's the end-all, be-all of a damn argument. And then when you go back and check behind them and find all this information that they didn't bother to research, that they didn't even bother to look up, and you say, well, what about this, and this? You know, and they never give an answer to that. And then when you read their statistics, it doesn't even say what they say that the statistics say.
Okay.
So I'm sick of them misrepresenting statistics just to create an argument, just so they can have some shit to say.
Proceed.
Possible and hope for the best. And even then, they didn't sit there and father or sire children in the correct way. So we've had generations of malfunctioning men out there. But as I continue playing the audio clip, Mac doesn't take that into consideration at all. He continues with his idea as if it was concrete, because it's an opinion piece and there's nobody there to stop him. So let's continue.
Just like there's nobody there to stop you.
Before the term was coined. You understand? Yeah. So this is a guy that was destined to go without a certain form of human development that all young boys go through in life. And some of us go through it earlier because in our communities where we live.
I just want to stop it one more time. You said all young boys as if that were a fact. Can we look at people like Isaac Newton and Tesla, please?
Oh my God, man. Well, we already went ahead and discussed this, man. How this nigga nitpicking, man. How, of course, we're talking in generalities. Of course, I guess in the future, Tony, you should refrain from saying all.
Let me throw you a bone, son. You're right. All men don't go through it. But as a general rule, most men do go through it. So if you want to nitpick and you want to find a point of contention, I'll give you that. I was probably incorrect in saying all. I should have said all the people that I know. Now, I don't know every single person in the world, granted, but the people that are in my peer group, they had that experience. And I would be willing to wager that most of the people that you know have had that experience. So you're correct, son. It's probably not all, but it is a substantial number. And to borrow a phrase, it is most. And to borrow a phrase that I'm sure you're familiar with, most is anything over 51%. Okay? So because you are a small number, again, because you are a small number of men, that doesn't invalidate my point, son. But if you want to argue with me semantically and say that it's not all, I will concede to you that it's not all. That's the last bone you're getting from me.
Yeah, sex before marriage was a huge no-no back in the day. And then now that we have the advent of the sexual revolution, people are now freer and more able to meet more people and have.
See, now watch me do this to you. Now watch me do this to you. I'm going to do to you what you just did to me.
Uh-oh.
You said sex before marriage was a no-no back in the day. It was a minute number. Excuse me, not a minute. It was more than a smattering of people having sex outside of marriage back in the day. Was it frowned upon? Yes. That didn't mean that it wasn't happening. The bastardy laws of this country go all the way back to the 18th century. Were you aware of that? You probably weren't. Okay? So just because it wasn't popular, don't mean motherfuckers wasn't doing it. You understand? Just because something is not in vogue or in style, doesn't mean that it wasn't happening. And despite what people will tell you, there was quite a bit of black illegitimacy back in the 40s and 50s. The single parent home, despite what they want to say, it probably was not to the degree that it was after 1965, but the single parent home was very much a reality in the 40s and 50s, in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. It didn't just start in the 1960s. It exploded in the 1960s, but it didn't begin there, okay? So I gave you a bone. I hope you would give me one back. But since your argument is not really credible, you're not really proposing any credible argument. You're just here to give clickbait. You're here for clickbait, okay? You're here for views.
That's an opinion. It's opinions.
Yeah, that's opinion. That's opinions, okay? So the fact that it's a no-no doesn't mean that it wasn't happening, okay? So illegitimacy didn't start in the 60s, and it didn't start with welfare, and it didn't start with food stamps. It didn't start with the illegitimacy created by the government's poverty programs. You have always had niggas nutting in women and running.
Let's go. And outside of their social standing, which was not available to men back in the day. So this whole notion that all men went through some sort of sexual enlightenment period in which they got to, deal with heartbreak and romance. And
I didn't say anything about that there. I didn't say a damn thing about that. Let me explain to you what I said, son. When you get older and you start to...
You look confused.
Yeah, he is confused as hell. When you get old and you start to find a sexual identity, you start to see that you're attracted to a girl who's growing breasts. You start to see you're attracted to a girl with a jiggling booty. Most men, not all, most men, that becomes an awakening for them sexually. They begin to have some type of desire. Most men begin to have some type of desire for women. Most young boys, well, let me not say men, most young boys, when they're 12, 13, and 14, and they become aware of their sexual identity and their hormones kick in, they began to have some type of attraction towards women, and they began to seek out women. Now, when we were younger, I don't know about you, when we were younger, we played a little something called hide and go get, okay? We were filling on asses. We were trying to suck titties. We were dry humping little girls in the back of the house. That was a part of us being curious. That was a part of our sexual curiosity. We were coming of age. You understand that? Do you? Is it clear to you what I'm saying here?
I don't think it is. He's motherfucking just skewer and all sorts. Let's go, man.
Being that notion is just incorrect. You'll see that, sex is not a necessity for human beings. Companionship and compassion are, but sex is not. Many men have lived fruitful lives without reproducing, and
I don't doubt that that's true. But let me ask you a question. This is what I said about natural judgment, man. What comes from companionship? What is the natural? What is usually the natural outcome of compassion and companionship with a woman?
Kids? Nigga, I don't know.
Sex. Fucking. If a woman is in your company and she is a good companion don't you naturally at some point wind up having sex with her if you're attracted to her?
Yeah.
Okay. He's saying, if I'm hearing him correctly,
right,
he's saying that sex is not a necessity. Well, biologically, I would argue it is, because how else do we repopulate the world? Well, I guess now they have artificial insemination. But before we had artificial insemination, how else did we repopulate the planet?
Sex. Shit. I mean, like I said, when you ask me that shit, what's the natural outcome of compassion or whatever, you ain't got to have no fucking highfalutin ideas about companionship and companionship and what's the other word?
Compassion.
Compassion, man. You ain't gotta have that shit to have no sex. The fuck.
No, but what I'm saying,
Yeah.
he's saying you don't have to have sex. You can have those things.
Uh-huh.
But usually, if you're in close quarters with a female,
Mhm.
now you said, well, you don't need companionship and compassion. But a female is usually, well, maybe in this with the era of the hood rat, usually there's some sense. Like, let's take V for example.
Mhm.
You know how attentive she was.
Right.
You know how considerate she was.
Yeah.
Well, that was compassion and companionship.
Mhm.
Weren't you sexually attracted to her?
Oh yeah.
Didn't you end up having sex with her?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying is these things are usually the forerunner. They're the precedent before you actually have sex with someone.
Mhm.
When you were dating back in the day, when most men were dating back in the day, do you think they were dating exclusively for companionship and compassion?
No.
No. What do you think they were dating for?
Shit, they was trying to find a woman so they could, produce a lot of kids so they could work that farm, nigga. That's what they was trying to do.
So they were trying to find a woman to what? To fuck.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Okay, sex was a part of the equation. That's my
Right.
point.
Mhm.
So he's arguing that sex is supplementary.
Mhm.
It's not necessary.
Right.
I take the opposite view. I
Well,
think,
it ain't necessary for this nigga because he ain't getting none. You can look at this nigga and tell you ain't getting none, man. Listen to this nigga talking.
well,
The way this nigga talking.
that's an opinion piece.
I don't give a
That's
fuck.
an opinion.
Fox is not getting no pussy, man.
That's an opinion.
Fox, you ain't getting no pussy. That's why you got triggered, nigga. And that's why you all like up under Shawn James' skirt, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Let me dial it back because I said we was gonna be respectful.
Yeah, we're gonna be
Be
respectful.
respectful. It's too late.
Okay, that was Fat Mac speaking.
That's me, nigga. I'm Fat Mac. That's Tony.
He's the rapper. I'm the DJ.
Okay, let's go.
Tesla and Isaac Newton are just two of those examples, two of the most important examples that you can cite. While Mac cites no examples and just continues rambling.
We did.
His
We
ideas
did
are
cite an
controversial.
example.
Oh, did we?
Benny Hill.
Oh yeah, we did.
Benny Hill.
Benny Hill.
Benny
You
Hill.
probably don't know who the hell Benny Hill.
He don't know who
is.
Benny Hill. No, he don't know. Look him up.
This is a young nigga.
This a young nigga. Your mentor, go to Sandman. Sandman has a video on Benny Hill. Okay? So go check him out. All right? So we did cite an example. But of course you didn't listen to the first 10 minutes?
But did you even say Benny Hill and the Born Incel? Or
Yes,
was
I
that?
did.
Oh,
I said
okay.
Benny Hill and the Born Incel.
Oh, okay. All right then. Go.
Great.
Communities are not, for the most part, they're not normal communities. They're dysfunctional communities. So when I said on the podcast, the Flat Top Diaries, that a lot of us are exposed to sex before we actually mature into a situation where we can handle it, that's some real shit. If you come up in the house of a single mother like Shawn James, a lot of us witness our mothers living.
I don't know if Shawn James came up with the house from a single mother. I've never inferred that. I don't really have an issue with the point that Mac just made. My only issue is, life throws you curveballs. It doesn't matter if you're not ready to handle a sexual scenario, it will come regardless. And based on how you handle the sexual scenario will sort of project you into adulthood. And you can take it from rape victims. Many girls have sexual scenarios forced upon them just as many young boys do, unfortunately.
Their lives or witness our mother's sexuality or witness our mothers exhibiting their sex lives right in front of us. So we become sexualized at a very early age. Now, do I know what his mother's sex life is? No, I don't. No, I don't. Do I know if Shawn James ever saw his mother getting rolled hard? No, I don't. But what I do know is that this is a guy who is already determined that in some ways he's going to be, he's not going to have the normal development that all young boys, especially black boys, have during that.
As I stated, the point he's trying to make, that normal development is sort of a 50, 60-year-old philosophy, I guess, because, men, 100 years ago, especially black men with the time of slavery And you know what?
Listen how stupid. What world do you live in, son? What world do you live in? Obviously, it's not this one. Obviously, it's not this one. Take a look around at the young people in your neighborhood. Take a look around at the young girls and the young boys in your neighborhood. You think they're playing with dolls? Do you think that they're not sexually aware? Do you think that they do not have a sexual identity? Do you think that they do not have an understanding of their sexuality and of their reproductive organs? They're teaching sex education in school, son. In school. Not only are they teaching sex education, they're teaching in some schools about homosexuality. What are you talking about? That's not a 50, 60 reality. Where the hell do you live?
I don't see. He talking about, you know, what's normal, and or he's saying that we don't know what is normal and what's not normal.
No, you don't know what's normal.
This is the thing, man. When we was talking about Shawn James, we were basically stating that he has removed himself from the equation. Therefore, he doesn't have the experiences to adequately deal with women. That's all we saying.
That's all.
That's all we saying, little nigga. You know what I'm saying? So it's a situation where he for some reason, he wants to go way back in time. And you doing that is fruitless. It's irrelevant, man, because basically all men must go through this.
Don't say all.
No, fuck that.
Don't say
all men must go through this to learn how to deal with broads. Okay? He's stating Sir Isaac Newton and Nikola Tesla. Of course, they didn't get no ass. They didn't get no pussy. Why? Because they removed themselves from the equation, right? And we're not saying it's a positive or negative because they not fucking. What we saying is if you Shawn James and you sitting up on your video pointing fingers at motherfuckers talking about how they simps and they betas, then nigga, you need to make sure that you are alpha. You know what I mean? If you're going to be casting aspersions on other people talking shit about them. You know what I mean? So we ain't got no problem with Sir Isaac Newton. We ain't got no problem with Tesla. They are who they are. You know, whatever happened to them is what happened to them due to their life experiences. All right? So the whole concept of what's normal. Look, if you want to get down with some females, if you want to be seen as a man of means, if you want to be seen as a man that can basically make it pop with a female, you're going to have to go through some trials and some tribulations. You're going to have to, once again, the whole concept of iron sharpens iron. A broad want a boss. You know what I mean? And you running from women, you running from situations where you have conflicts with other men, that does not equate to you being a boss. Okay? You don't have those
equate to you being a man.
Shit. You know what I mean?
And that was the whole point of the podcast. Mm-hmm. If you're running from your fears, that doesn't even make you a man. And 50 or 60-year-old, I mean, have you taken a good look at the young people? Have you taken a good look at the sexual lifestyles of the young people in the black community? And for the record, sir, Shawn James did say he was raised by a single woman, by a single mother.
Right.
You haven't even listened to his videos. You up here trying to champion and flag wave for Shawn James, and you haven't even listened to Shawn James's video. Shawn James
had the decency to listen to your own savior,
your own mentor.
Go through his whole video. What nigga you got bored and you said some of his shit was bullshit too, so you couldn't go through the whole shit? Nigga,
no, you got triggered because you heard the word incel. That's what you heard. That's what the problem is. You heard incel, and now you want to come this way because you feeling some kind of way about it. We just described what we saw, young man. We're just talking about what we see, our observations. And let me tell you something. Tesla and Sir Isaac Newton aren't representative of all men. They aren't even 50 or 60% of all men. That again is that very extreme sector of Mgtow. Those people represent your constituency. They're not representative of most men. They're not even representative of half the men in society. They're not even representative of a quarter of the men in society. They are a representative of a very small section of people just like you and just like Shawn James.
Shawn James is your daddy. Let's go.
100 years ago would have been like, what, 1919? No, not a lot of us are having families with resources that we can't provide for. The philosophy throughout times is that you can't provide, you're not a man. And rather than focus on acquiring women at a young age, I believe that Shawn James is taking the right path and focusing on himself, which you should.
I agree with that, and Tony agrees with that, but the only problem with that is he's being disingenuous because he's making it sound like that was his choice. That wasn't Shawn James'
that choice was thrusted on him.
That choice was thrusted upon that nigga because he couldn't get no bitches. So what he did was, oh, well, I'm going to forsake all women and I'm going to work on myself because all these women are ratchet. No, you did that because you couldn't get no ass. Just period. Just be honest with it. You know what I'm saying? But no, we do agree with the concept and the premise that you should concentrate on yourself. You should build yourself. And like I said, if you build it, they will come. Shit, but you know, like I said, you know, this nigga he just want to nitpick, my nigga.
Yeah,
that's what he want to do.
That's all he wanted to do.
Let's go.
Do throughout your entire life. It has nothing to do with how old you are. It has nothing to do with, you know, the goal that you're trying to achieve. It all has to do with what you choose to do and your personal philosophies, and you are the master of your own fate. So this standard of normality is actually something that society has forced onto Mac, which then he forces onto us, which is just, if Mac isn't going to take the time to acknowledge that his idea of normal isn't his own and is in fact somebody else's, perhaps his mother or his father's idea of normal, or perhaps
my nigga, the law of tooth and claw is normal. The whole concept of the jungle is normal. Nature and the whole theory of natural selection and how the alphas get the ass is normal. You can try and dissect that shit all you want, nigga. You can try and do all sorts of pontifications and number crunching all you want, nigga. You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is, shit, the alpha gets the ass. The alpha gets the ass, man. You know what I mean? And I know there's a lot of debate about what's alpha, what ain't alpha, what's beta. Look, it's not even in your hands, man. It's all in the broads' hands, okay? The broads do the choosing, you know what I mean? And you talking about, well, you know, what society thrust on you is normal. We ain't talking about society, man. We talking about basic, bare bones physiology and nature. The way it was supposed to, the way it was intended to be, how females basically pick and choose their mates. But you want to go against that. You want to talk about that's society's norms. That ain't society's norms,
that's
man.
Nature.
That's nature, nigga. You got something to say?
Again, the mental faculties that you need to discover conspiracies and betrayals erode natural judgment. You understand?
Right.
Shit that should be self-evident. Shit that should be axiomatic. Shit that should be just so plain and so easy becomes something else. Mm-hmm. It becomes complicated. It becomes something that is way over his head. The basic shit is way over his head. Mm-hmm. The basic shit it is basic that women gravitate toward men who they feel can protect them. Mm-hmm. You understand?
Right.
It's basic that women will gravitate toward the champion marble shooter. Women are going to gravitate towards men that are champions. They're going to gravitate towards men that are wealthy. They're going to gravitate towards men that are aggressive. They're going to gravitate towards men that they feel have those characteristics that will allow them to be a woman.
And that's all cultures, all societies.
All cultures.
That's just basic human nature, little nigga. What is this nigga talking about, man?
Just want to have something to say.
Just want to have something to nitpick on. Let's go.
You know, his community's idea of normal, you know, he's already has a skewered viewpoint and therefore is not, I wouldn't say he's not adequately able to speak on it because he has an opinion and his opinion is just as valid as mine, but he's not taking several factors into consideration.
And I missed those factors that we should be considering.
He never said them.
Okay, let's go.
It is because he doesn't have that development. He doesn't really understand it. Okay. Now, he says, here's a part of his statement that I think is disingenuous. He's saying it's different. All of us can have variations or differences in our personality and still develop. So the fact that you're saying you're different because you don't like women, well, yeah, you're technically right. That's a semantic argument. yes, you're different in that maybe women don't necessarily do it for you, or you're not intrigued by female sexuality. But that doesn't make you different from the aspect of saying, well, I've chosen a higher path, or I've chosen to go another way.
Right.
It just makes you different because you chose not to have that experience for whatever reason. And because you chose not to have that experience.
The thing that kills me about this last excerpt, because I'm trying to keep it under 12 minutes, which I just blew, is that his man is just co-signing him in the background. Right, okay. Even though he makes a fucking point with...
You goddamn right I'm co-signing my partner, nigga, because I agree with the fuck you saying, bitch.
Just
go.
completely ass backwards and goes in a loop. So, men going their own way, we're going our own way and deciding our own path. We are, in fact, different. But this guy says that you're not different by saying that you would not you wouldn't want to interact with women or have sexual relations with women. But there's tiers of Mgtow. I'm not going to get into that because, he should have known the tiers of Mgtow before doing this response video.
And yes, we do know the tiers of Mgtow, man.
Yes.
It's quite obvious that you don't know the tiers of Mgtow, man. Because if you did, you probably would have understood what we was talking about when we made the analogy between the Morlocks and the extreme Mgtows. I don't understand what this nigga talking about, man.
Let me clear something up. When I said Shawn James, when I talked about Shawn James acknowledging himself as different, when Shawn James uses the word different, it almost seems as if Shawn James is saying he's superior. So when I said that Shawn James is no different than any other man out there, what I'm saying is Shawn James, by him being different, it doesn't make him superior to any other man out there. Now, if you want to look at, again, the dating schemes of what women designate as an alpha or beta male, or you want to look at how women choose alpha or beta males, Shawn James would clearly be subordinate. Shawn James would clearly be, and there's no question about that.
Right.
So when I said that Shawn James is no different, what I was saying is that Shawn James is no different in the terms of how he's describing himself, as though he's trying to make himself superior to all the other men that are designated as beta males. And he is especially not superior to men that have that type of experience out here with women, having, the serial womanizers, prolific womanizers, men that have had those experiences with women, and men that have learned something from those experiences with women, and they have taken those experiences and made themselves better men. So when Shawn James says he's different, yeah, he's different because he's choosing to do his thing, but his difference doesn't make him superior to other men.
Right.
And that was my point.
All right, let's go.
But then to say that, I'm different because I'm spiritually enlightened, or I'm finding another path, and that makes you different, that just seems like a moot point to me. And I feel like this entire video is disingenuous. Around this time was when I initially stopped listening, because I felt like there was I'm not going to listen to an hour and 30 minutes of opinion piece. And I felt like he didn't truly understand Mgtow in order to actually understand what a man is going through, in order to talk to, I forgot the guy's name, Mr. James.
Got his own mentor.
Directly, and understand his philosophy, and meet him on common grounds in which they can actually have a sophisticated debate. And a debate about their principles, not about their philosophies. You will not win a debate about personal philosophies and what somebody else believes to be their truth. You will only...
Once again, we must reiterate, it's not about the debate. We don't get, at least I don't give two fucks about no debate. I hear what you say, and I critique it, and I leave it at that. The opinions of others, as far as the debate goes, is irrelevant to me. It ain't that goddamn serious.
Well, let me say this. I wasn't debating Shawn James'
Right.
philosophy.
Right.
If Shawn James wants to be a monk or he wants to be celibate for the rest of his life, that's his. If that's what he wants to do, but you know, I'm kind of tired of these niggas that believe that just because you know they haven't done anything in life or because they haven't made mistakes in life that they're somehow pure.
Right.
That they're somehow enlightened more than anyone else who's actually made mistakes and learned from them. I'm sick of these niggas that think that moral purity means enlightenment. And it doesn't. I'm sorry, it doesn't. So just because Shawn James chooses to take a spiritual path, that doesn't make him any more enlightened than us. That doesn't make him any more enlightened than Alan Roger Curry. That doesn't make him any more enlightened than O'Shea Duke Jackson or anybody else in the black manosphere that has been out here and experienced life up close and personal. Just because he chose to go become a monk and be celibate for 25 damn years, his moral or his sexual chastity or purity doesn't equate to some type of heightened state of consciousness. It doesn't.
Not to mention that everything that he's talking about right now, those aspersions that he's casting on us, his boy Shawn James is guilty of.
Yes.
That's the funny part, because we basically exposed that in the 2 or 3 videos that we did, but he didn't listen to those.
He just
damn
listened to 10 minutes.
Didn't listen to this latest one.
That's right.
So, like I said, well, once again, we got a nigga that want to critique a book, but he's only like read a couple chapters.
He ain't read a couple chapters. That's that's 2 pages. He read 3 pages and think he know the whole damn book. So when I spoke about Shawn James in that manner, what I'm saying is that Shawn James's enlightenment is no different than any man that's been out here in this field and had real life experiences that actually experience what the hell they talking about. So yes, he can be different in that he's choosing to be celibate and work on and develop himself. And I don't know many men that don't, I know a very small number of men that don't work on improving themselves. But most of the men that I know, and I would wager most of the men that you know, are about self-improvement.
Right.
You see, and you don't have to avoid women. You know, I can understand you saying, well, I don't want to fuck with a woman until I get my goals together. Or I understand you wanting to focus on accomplishing certain goals and you want to make certain achievements. You want to have certain achievements in life. I get that. I understand that because everything should not be, because pussy can be a distraction.
Right.
I get that. But that's not Shawn James's experience.
Right.
You understand? That isn't what happened to Shawn James. Something else happened to Shawn James. You understand? And this is not what we're saying, it's what he said.
Right.
The video that we did were words from his own mouth.
Man, let's go.
Beat them on the grounds that they've violated one of their core principles, which they hold so dearly. My whole thing about Mackcity is that he, in the video description, he provided no link to the original text. I mean, the original sample that he got the audio from Mr. James.
Allow me to go ahead and speak on that. Oh, my God, man. All the players know that, since we did the Shawn James shit, niggas was hating, man. We had one partner on here who I guess we was sort of cool with, but he didn't necessarily dig how we did the Shawn James expose. And so we had to grill that nigga. And so all of a sudden, that video, which was basically about Shawn James, got flagged. So we had to basically put that shit in Patreon. So what I had to do was take my other Shawn James joints, just in case some of these other soft-ass niggas got in their feelings. So I had to basically hide that shit. And so with this latest joint that we did, the Born Incel, I said, okay, I'm not going to have Shawn James' name in the title, because these soft-ass niggas will be in their feelings. I'm not going to provide no links to Shawn James because these motherfucking niggas ain't going to be in their feelings about this shit. So, I mean, the 2 or 3 videos that we had prior to that, we had no problem giving Shawn James links, giving him his props, putting his name in it. You know what I mean? And of course, this goes counter to what niggas was saying, how we initially wanted to destroy Shawn James. How do you want to destroy a motherfucker and you giving him more exposure? You know what I mean? That's not our bag. You know what I mean? So with this latest joint, we made a conscious decision to not make Shawn James so-called the focus on the outside, so that niggas wouldn't be saying what you about to say, clickbait. You know what I mean? Because that's what clickbait is. You plaster the person's name all over your shit.
Like
all,
what you did to us?
Yeah, all on the thumbnail, all in the goddamn description, all in the description box, provide links, all that. That would be clickbait. None of that was in this video. So that we can basically show and prove to you niggas, right, that no, we are not trying to so-called get big, which is hilarious, off Shawn's name with 8,000 subscribers. Due to the fact that we responded to you, little niggas, should let cats know, look, we ain't in this shit to get no so-called exposure. You know what I mean? What my nigga got? He got like 4 subscribers?
4 subscribers.
My nigga.
We said we weren't going to do that.
No. I'm not saying that just the nigga. What I'm just saying, I'm bringing up a point. You know, because motherfuckers was like, you talking about Shawn James to get clicks and to get likes and to get big off his name. Bullshit. You know what I mean? Look at young Mgtow Fox. This nigga, he got 2 days ago, he got 9 views off this shit. You know what I'm saying? That ain't funny, nigga. This is not jokes. This is real shit.
I thought that was put up today. I didn't even look at the 2 days.
Nah, nigga, that's 2 days ago. My nigga got 9 views and he got 4 subscribers. So, look, man, me and you, we ain't no big time YouTubers, man.
No, we're not.
This nigga, he about to get shine off us.
Yeah, he is.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we ain't in this shit, you know, to be just picking on big YouTubers so we can get clicks and likes and all that gay ass shit. He proposed an argument. We responded. I don't give a fuck if he got 1 view. I don't give a fuck if he got 1 subscriber. This nigga can get that work. I don't give a fuck how many, nigga, that's not even what we on over here. You want to go ahead and expound on that shit?
Look, what we did as far as Shawn James was concerned was a critique. That's what we did. But I will go ahead and tell you thank you, because thanks to you putting our name in your title, you're going to get views. You are doing clickbait. This is clickbait.
No shit.
Now, because what's going to happen is that when our audience or our subscribers hears this podcast, they're going to come and listen to this bullshit that you got to say. So I suspect when our shit is up, your views are going to skyrocket.
Right.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get shine off of us. But we're not interested in shine. We're not interested in clickbait. You understand? Because what we do, we've said this for the longest. We did this as a form of creative expression. We did it for the love. We did it for the love. So we don't care. We didn't care if we didn't have 50,000 subscribers. It would be nice, but we don't give a shit. You see, because like your mentor, Shawn James, we understand that we're not for the masses either. Mm-hmm. But we have the guts to be honest about who we are, which is more than what I can say for your daddy, Shawn James.
And rest assured, yes, we will be putting your link in the description box. Yes. Like I said, ain't no hate over here, man. You know, we hope you get all the shine you can get off our bullshit ass close to 3,000 subs, nigga. You know what I'm saying? We wish that you get some shine off this shit, man. Let's proceed.
And he doesn't feel like he needs to. Why? Because this video is clickbait. This video is just shilling to an audience of men who are adamantly against black men, who are, to what I've seen in the comment section, black men who don't adhere to the Mgtow philosophy or who are just religiously blue-pilled and claim that walking away from the dating scene is somehow giving up. But
hold on, let me go ahead, because this is the funny thing, man. With the whole Shawn James shit, of course, we don't really debate Shawn James because really, we basically agree with like 95% of the shit that Shawn is really spitting. I really do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the main reason why I'm even responding to, or I even responded to Shawn James in the past, because I actually listened to some of his stuff and I actually agree with some of that shit. Now, the whole concept of Mgtow, I'm basically living a Mgtow lifestyle. You know what I mean? I don't have no steady broad. You know what I mean? I don't go on no dates. Y'all know how I get down. Shit, I pay it. You know, I pay like I weigh. I got 75, bitch. Let's get it popping. You know what I mean? I don't need no relationship. I'm not on that shit. So I'm living a degree of a Mgtow lifestyle right now. Of course, this nigga don't know it because he only read 2 chapters of the book. So he don't really know what's going on with it when it's pertaining to me and Tony and our movement, the power trick movement. You feel me? So, you know, I got direct pay bitches. I got indirect pay bitches. I got bitches at work that's trying to fuck with me, man. But I'm not trying to get no relationship with no woman. I am, for all intents and purposes, Mgtow. You know what I mean? So, with this nigga talking about, of course, you don't know what the fuck he talking about. I am, in one strange way, Mgtow, but I don't run from no bitch. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get mines. I'm going to have me some fun. You know what I mean? So, yes, Mgtow is real, and I practice some of that shit. So, what was it? There's another movement out there. It's like Ibmore, and there's Save Yourself Black Man. You know, a lot of cats say, nah, Mac, you ain't Mgtow. You really SYSBSM or some shit like that. You know, I don't really put labels on none of the shit I do. You know, I'm a power trick nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do. I power trick on hoes and I send them bitches back where I got them. You know what I mean? But ain't no relationship here between me and no broads. You feel me? You want to elaborate or just move on?
I don't. Let me say this. I'm gonna say this and we can move on. I don't adhere to labels. If you call what I do Mgtow wonderful, I'm Tony.
Right.
That's what I am. That's what I am. I don't sit up here and try to get, you know, drug off into all this shit about, well, are you Ibor? Are you Cisbim? Are you? No, I'm Tony. I do what I do. Okay? But if you want to live that life where you don't want, you know, the company of females, and you don't have any sexual desires, or you don't have any desire to be with a woman sexually, that's you. But me, I got 75 and I'm gonna keep right on fucking. Proceed.
I don't see how what Mr. James chooses to do or what I choose to do plays any factor into what you choose to do. In fact, we're leaving more bitches for you.
Exactly.
I just think that he clever.
So yes, man, I have no problem with what you niggas do except for the disingenuousness and the hypocrisy.
Really places links to his own personal blog and his own PayPal and his own Patreon in the description, where a video of the original, you know, the original video should belong, because it's not about actually being informative. It's about getting some money and shilling, which is what I'm going to call it. If you take a look at his website, it's aimed towards a specific type of black person. I'm going to say the black nationalist type of black person.
Stop that.
Who,
first of all, he got the sites mixed up.
Okay.
Mackcity, I don't think you can call that. I suppose that is black nationalism in a way. But powerandstrategy.com is not about black nationalism,
right,
sir. Power and Strategy is a blog that is dedicated to explaining a lot of the undercurrents in society that we may not be aware of. Now, do I tell those stories through the lens of the black experience in many instances? Of course. I talk about the rule about guarding your reputation. I talk about James Prince, the multi-billionaire from Rap-A-Lot Records, who wrote the book, The Art of Respect, the art and science of respect. I talk about the history of Adam Clayton Powell. I talk about the 33 laws of strategy and the 48 laws of power, where it talks about knowing each man's thumb screw. I just tell a story, but I tell a story through the lens of the black experience. But I don't exclusively talk about black people on that site. Right. I have articles on that site that deals with politics that don't involve any black people. For instance, I got an article on there that talks about the business coup of 1934, when a group of businessmen tried to take over, hatch a coup against Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1934. I talk about Smedley Darlington Butler. I talk about the story of Henry A. Wallace. I talk about the Cuban Missile Crisis and King's Gambit. I talk about I even got a thing up there about tricking, son. You should read it.
Might help you out.
Might help you out.
I think you need it.
Yeah, I got an article up there on Boyce Watkins and Maria Lloyd. Sometimes it's cheaper to trick. So it is not a black nationalist site in the key of I'm talking about revolt and a separate nation. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, or I'm telling on that blog, very human stories that deal with power, sex, money, intrigue, and scandal. You know, that's what that site is about. And it is about how these things affect everyday people. So it's not a black nationalist site. Okay, but of course you didn't read my work.
Right.
You probably only read the first 2 paragraphs.
I think this is what these millennial niggas. You think this?
Yeah, I think that this is, yeah.
You know, that seems to be the problem with these millennial niggas, man. You know what I mean? They got a lot of shit to say, but they ain't willing to put in that work, man, to actually come to a real informed conclusion, man. They don't want to listen to the video to its full conclusion. They don't want to read all the books to its full conclusion. You know what I mean? They just, you know, I don't like it. You know, niggas get triggered, so he just go off on a tangent and shit without having, you know, all the facts and shit.
And then, like, a lot of them got a bunch of irrelevant information that they really can't do anything with.
Right.
Or they have all these, again, I understand what that's like. They got a bunch of facts and figures in their head, but it really has nothing to do with, you know, how society really functions. They have key times and key days, but they can't put that shit together. Mm-hmm. And so they're frustrated with society, a certain sector of them. Right. They're frustrated with society. They're frustrated with women. They're just frustrated. Right. They're just out and out frustrated. And they, you know, they just want to withdraw from the world. And I can understand that, because sometimes I want to withdraw from the world. Sometimes I look at these motherfuckers as sheep. Sometimes I look at them as food or as cattle, as the case may be. Mm-hmm. But I'm no fool. I understand I still have to live in this world. You understand?
Yeah.
So one can be, and to quote a biblical scripture, one can be in this world but not of it.
Right.
You see, it doesn't make you a fool. You can be as wise as the serpent, but as gentle as the dove.
Right. Let's go.
You know, I don't even want to really get into the core of his website, because that's not my concern. My concern is that Mackcity, or Macman, or whatever he calls himself, Tony, didn't really understand Mgtow when he put up his video response. And
hey man, it's just killing me, man. The nerve of this nigga to actually get on here, make a response video.
Don't even know who he talking
to. He don't even know the names of the motherfuckers talking, man. He don't know. He didn't listen to the whole goddamn video. He don't know jack shit about the website, man. It's like, nigga, you got some balls getting on here actually trying to critique something. He can't even get the basic shit right with the names of the motherfuckers talking. Let's go.
I don't think he is interested in understanding Mgtow. I believe that he has a philosophy which he adheres to and is now subjugating to the rest of us to. And the fact that he used a Marvel or a comic book reference to sort of justify his beliefs or to rationalize the real world doesn't hold any water, in my opinion. That's like citing to the Bible. It just doesn't make any sense to anyone who doesn't know what you're talking about. And then last but not least, he doesn't acknowledge the points that Mr. James makes that are actually valid. He doesn't feel like he has to. And if he does acknowledge those points...
Once again, you don't know the body of work. We have acknowledged a lot of the points that he's made. He does have a lot of valid points of critiques. But you wouldn't know that, nigga, because you only read 2 chapters of the whole goddamn book. Let's go.
They're not enough to convince him that what Mr. James's personal philosophy is actually based on personal experience. He doesn't take into consideration Mr. James's personal experience being in Mgtow or an incel for at least 25 years, I believe, which would definitely, you know, give you some indication of the dating scene. A guy
if anybody's not dealing with someone's personal experience, it's Shawn James not understanding everyone else's personal experience. Right. Mm-hmm. That was the point of the damn video. You understand? Mm. It's not that we didn't understand or didn't know where Shawn James was coming from. Our point was that Shawn James didn't know where everyone else was coming from.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Because of his limited experience.
Because of his limited experience. And insofar as comic books, any fool knows, anybody that reads, your daddy cites comic books. Your daddy is a comic book collector. Mm-hmm. Anybody that reads comic books will tell you that that is art imitating life. Mm-hmm. The people that wrote the X-Men, you know who Professor X is marveled after?
Martin Luther King.
You know who Magneto is marveled after?
Malcolm X.
So your thing about using comic book characters, that's done every day. They write Hollywood scripts based on what's happening out here in the streets. Fiction is created from nonfiction. Mm-hmm. that's how these producers and these Hollywood studios make most of their money. They look at the lives that people are living and they model their characters after the lives of everyday people.
Shit. Which came first, chicken or the egg? Art imitating life or life imitating art, man? You know what I mean? It's a young nigga, man. You can tell he's a young nigga, man. He ain't fleshed out really what he want to talk about. He ain't connecting the dots at all, man. You ready to proceed?
Yeah, give him his last little minute and 20 seconds.
20 years, at least 2 decades. You believe that he hasn't tried talking to women? You think he hasn't tried that? You think that wasn't the first thing he did? Come on. Let's be real and let's be rational here. You know, Mackcity doesn't talk about no-fault divorce. He doesn't talk about marital law. He doesn't talk about alimony.
Oh my God,
Matt, we talked about that shit back in 2010 on Liberated Syndicate. I was the first one to talk about the term. I didn't hear anybody else in the Black manosphere say the word loco parentis.
Right.
I didn't hear anybody discuss or break down in detail alimony.
Right.
I didn't hear anybody discuss in detail how even if you're not married to a woman for an extensive amount of time, due to the fact that you're married to her, half of your income becomes hers. I said this shit back in 2010, son. You were probably still in high school when I said this shit. We did this shit back. Well, it's gone now. It's gone now.
I'm gonna dig it up and put that link in the description box, nigga.
We did that shit before you or your daddy ever got to YouTube. You understand that? What you're talking about, I have forgotten more shit about marital law than you will ever know. That's my wheelhouse, nigga. That's what I do.
This is the funny thing, right? It's like when these niggas, they hear our videos, they always talk about what we should talk about. You know what I mean? What you talking about on here, Mr. Fox, don't have jack shit to do with us critiquing
Shawn James.
You know, they want to add all sorts of other shit in the mix. Well, y'all should have talked about space aliens and Pluto. Hey, nigga, we not talking about intergalactic space travel and Pluto and aliens, nigga. We talk about Shawn James and his disingenuousness and his hypocrisy on the shit that he be spitting, nigga. But now you like, oh man, y'all not talking about no-fault divorce, because I ain't got shit to do with what we talking about, nigga.
We've already been there and done that. But see, if you're just in the second chapter of a book that's 40-something chapters long and about 500 pages or whatnot, you wouldn't know that. You don't know us, and you didn't take any time to do your homework before you made this response video. Because had you talked to some of those people in the comment section, they would have told you we were the first ones on YouTube to break down no-fault divorce. We were the first ones to talk about alimony and how half of a man's money is and how it's a bad arrangement. We were the first ones to say marriage was tricking. We said that shit 8 years ago, almost 10 years ago. You're late, son. You're late.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Yo, it would do you a whole lot of good, man, just to do your due diligence when you motherfucker running your mouth, Fox. Let's go. Let's proceed.
He doesn't talk about sperm jacking. He doesn't talk about any of the complex ideas that Mgtows actually get into, which actually causes men to fear women, because he doesn't understand the philosophy. And he doesn't understand the philosophy because he doesn't have the mental capacity to do so. He has an outlook on the world, and his world of view is in fact concrete in his mind, and it can't bend or mold to see what Mr. James was talking about, which I don't think is a hard point to understand. I would have continued playing more audio for you guys to listen to, but the quality of the audio isn't so good as I'm playing it off of a speaker in the car. And I wanted to keep this video under 12 minutes, which I did not do. It is nearly 20 minutes in. But yeah, this is young Mgtow Fox. Check it out.
Oh, ain't that sweet.
What up, y'all?
Okay.
This nigga had the nerve to talk about mental capacity.
Ooh,
this Negro that didn't even hear all of the video. This nigga that misstated every point we discussed.
Wow.
A nigga that talked about shit that we didn't even discuss in the video. The nigga that misstated every point we made in the video is talking about mental capacity that will cause men to fear women. Let me explain something to you, and you can go get this from a movie, son. Danger is real. Fear isn't.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
Right.
Danger is real. Fear isn't. You are afraid of women. The things that cause you to be afraid of women. Why are you afraid of women? Sperm jacking.
You scared of bitches
Sperm jacking.
Man.
How many men? I'm sure that there are some men out there that had that, because there's actually a website where women take, do sperm. I've actually seen that. But is sperm jacking an epidemic now? Is it?
I ain't going front, man. He got a point there, because that's so far off my radar. I've never even thought about that shit, man.
I've heard of it. I've heard of sperm jacking. I don't think it's at epidemic levels, but yes, it happens. So I'm familiar with it, but as for statistics as to whether or not it's an overwhelming possibility, look, son, we deal with hood bitches. That's danger. That's not fear. That's danger.
That's real danger, nigga.
You understand? So if you want to talk about having reason to, if it's anyone that understands having reason to be concerned about the danger of women, it's us.
I ain't worried about them bitches sperm jacking me. I'm worried about them bitches cutting me.
Yeah.
Them bitches cut you.
If there's any reason, if there's any group of women to be afraid of, son, it's the women we mess with. But so far, we've been able to come up aces. We've been able to come out without so much of a scratch.
With our limited mental capacity.
With our limited mental capacity.
And my ebonics. Let's go to number 2, nigga.
You're confused about that.
Okay. Let's see here.
Something has happened. It makes you
Fuck. Okay.
feel uncertain. It makes you.
What up, y'all? Young Mgtow Fox, about to get back at it again. So if y'all see my last video, it was addressed to some cat named Mackcity, and he did a video response to a Mgtow named Shawn James. And in this, he was basically attacking Shawn James's philosophy and his life choices, and inferring that he was some sort of incomplete man. And I just want to follow up on the last video I did, because there is a juicy sound bit that I unfortunately missed by a couple minutes, and I want y'all to get a chance to hear it. Unfortunately,
which typically happens when you don't listen to the whole goddamn video.
Yeah.
But
oh, and this one is one view. Oh, a whole one person. Okay.
Now, Tony, we're not gonna do that. Man,
okay, we're not gonna do that.
We're not gonna do the view thing or the subscriber thing.
Okay, all right.
We don't want to be hypocrites.
All right, we're not gonna be
let's go.
Okay.
sound bit is almost, in its entirety, is almost 10 minutes long. And I want you to hear it to its entirety. I'm not going to cut it. I'm not going to edit. I'm not going to speak over it. I'm going to let y'all decide for yourself what y'all think. And I'm about to play that for you right now.
Oh, and when you start to develop, when your hormones start to kick in, and when you bust your first nut, you're confused about that. Something has happened. It makes you feel uncertain. It makes you feel, you think, Ice Cube said he thought his dick was broken. You understand? It's an evolutionary process, but you have to be a part of that process in order to grow and learn as a human being. So what Shawn James is beginning to say is that he doesn't want to participate.
I wanted to make a joke about Ice Cube,
that will help him grow, and
but I'll save that for another time.
Already studied his development.
Thanks.
So let's continue. All the way back since I was about 11,
This is Shawn
12
James
years
right
old.
here.
And back then, I would run into these guys who would always ask me questions whether I like girls or if I had a girlfriend. And I found that on an instinctive level to be quite peculiar. And I said to myself, what boy is going to ask another boy if he liked girls or if he had a girlfriend? Usually, most boys who are secure in their masculinity or their manhood, they're going to ask you a question like, what video games do you like? What video games do you play? Who's your favorite basketball player? Who's your favorite?
Let me stop here. Shawn James just told us how different he was. But Shawn James can't tell that these boys are different from him.
Right.
If he says that that's not a question you would ask a young boy, he makes the assumption that those boys could actually afford action figures. He makes the assumption that those boys could actually afford comic books. And in Black America, you can't make those assumptions. He assumes that all of black...
I had to stop that because, you know, comic books have never been that expensive. You know, you went from 25-cent comics to 50-cent comics to, what was it, $1 for a couple of comics? Not only just one, but a couple. So they were never ever that expensive. And if you're going to tell me that comic books were not the most popular medium from 1945 after World War II up until the advent of video games and the pinball machine, I don't know what to tell you, man. Comics have always been a very relevant source of information and a very relevant source of entertainment for many generations now. Look at all the old guys that still go out there and collect comics. It's not particularly a young boy's thing. And young boys obviously do have an attraction to comics. I think that if a young boy from 11 to 12 years old is asking you if you have a girlfriend but is not concerned about, you know, the recent sporting event, you know, is not concerned about Tom Brady's last touchdown or LeBron James's sweet dunk or, you know, fucking Stephen Curry's fucking game-breaking fucking three-pointer, I think that there's inherently something wrong with them. I don't think that...
Stop. Not every black kid is interested in comics. Not every black kid is interested in sports.
Right.
Not every black kid is interested in some obscure hobby. Now, if that's their thing, I'm not putting that down. Everybody has a right to have their thing. But my point was very simply this, was that Shawn James didn't understand who he was talking to. He didn't understand who he was dealing with. He took for granted that these boys were interested in the same thing he was interested in. He didn't take stock of where these boys came from. He didn't take stock of what their home life was like. He didn't take stock of any of their family background. He just naturally assumed that this is what they would be interested in. Just like they assumed he was interested in pussy.
Right.
So if he didn't take stock of where they were coming from and they didn't take stock of where he was coming from, how is he any different from them?
Shit. He ain't.
That's the point.
He ain't. Shit. And homie over here, you know, like I said, this is a nitpick fest, man. He nitpicking about the price of the comics and all that shit, man. Like, bro, get with the meat of the subject, bro. Let's go.
I don't think that Shawn James is supposed to conform to society, and especially a society that's thrust on him like that. It says a lot about Mac's character that he said that Shawn James didn't understand the other boys, and the other boys didn't understand Shawn James. Therefore, Shawn James has to conform to the ideologies of another boy. I never
said that.
No, you sure did.
I never said that. I never said that. See, but that's what happens when you listen to 10 minutes of the damn video. What I said was that Shawn James didn't understand what the fuck was going on around him. And he didn't. He didn't understand when he was being sized up. He didn't understand when another boy was looking at him as food. He was too naive to understand when he was in danger. I never said he had to conform. I said he was delusional. And he was.
Fox, you are doing a horrible job, man, of defending your daddy, man. You have done zero due diligence on know who you fucking with, man. Let's proceed, man.
That inherently is weak. I think that's a weak philosophy. I'm going to be myself no matter what. I'm going to be myself in any environment. I don't care about the repercussions for being myself. Mac apparently does.
Man, this motherfucker right here, look, we power tricking all day, right? So that's the funny thing about listening to this nigga talk. There ain't nobody more individualistic than us. You know, we talk about cutting against the grain, cutting against society. Ain't nobody out here talking about championing the cause of the trick game.
We out here telling you we tricks and proud of it, and don't give a fuck what nobody else has to think
Does that
about.
sound like conformity to you?
No, that don't sound like conformity.
Fuck
And
outta here,
if anything, everybody else is conforming to us. Because the shit we said, now what is everybody saying?
Shit, they saying what we saying now. They like, fuck that. We are not going to enter into this nefarious agenda with the governments and the broads and, you know, the contracts and the marriage.
Marriage is a no-lose no-win contract.
Mm-hmm. Cats are saying, fuck that, I got 75 and I'm done.
Yep.
God damn, man. Where did he get these niggas from, man?
America has his experience. And he's admittedly said that he was different. He thinks that every boy that he comes in contact with can relate to comic books. He doesn't understand.
If that's not a fucking huge inflation, I don't know what that is. Did Shawn even did he even sort of infer that in his sample? No, he just thought it was peculiar that young boys, 11 and 12-year-old, would ask him if he had a girlfriend. He never said anything about them not being interested in what he was interested in. He never said anything of the sort. He never said that they had to be interested in comic books. He just thought it was peculiar that they were interested in relationships being that young.
Stop that.
I know for...
Why would that be peculiar? And first of all, nigga, the word is conflation, not inflation. Okay? Get your vocabulary correct. Okay? So, what I'm
petty, Tony.
Yeah, I'm being petty because he being petty. What I said, again, and I stand by that, is that Shawn James didn't understand who he was dealing with. He didn't understand what was happening right in front of him. Mm-hmm. He thought it was peculiar. Why would he think it? Why would he think that was peculiar unless he assumed that the kids understood his language, right, that they lived his lifestyle, that they understood his culture? He thought it was peculiar because he thought they were like him.
Right.
And when they asked him that question, they showing you, no, nigga, we're not. Do you have a bitch or not?
We still going on about this Shawn James, boy. There's a lot of Shawn James ass niggas out there. I ain't mad at him, though, man. Bring it, nigga. Let's go.
A fact, me, when I was 11 to 12 years old, my voice sounded like this. I had no girlfriend.
No.
You know, I just reached puberty. In fact, I was actually infatuated with female characters from my comic books and from my TV shows. I had no interest in girls in my class. They weren't developed yet enough to spark my attention at 11 to 12 years old. I think that if we look at the percentages of 11 to 12-year-olds that are in a relationship, and this is a relationship that involves kissing and being somewhat intimate, I will even take holding hands. It's not going to be a majority at all. It's going to be a small minority. But
see, now this is a conflation. This is a conflation.
Okay.
This is what's known as a conflation. This is where he's misrepresenting, again, my point. What I'm saying is that I never said anything about relationship. They asked him, was he interested in women? It is usually around 11 or 12 years old that young boys become aware of women. He just said it.
Right.
Through his comic books or through females on TV. He was attracted to the female form. Mm-hmm. That usually happens when you're 11 or 12 years old. So why would it not happen to another boy that was 11? You know how we are when we go up, when we were coming up, Mac. We talk shit. Mm-hmm. You see, that's what boys do. It's a bonding ritual.
Right.
It's what we do. It's how we become buddies. It's how we relate. It's a socialization process. It's how we become homeboys. We talk about shit that we think, just like Shawn James, we talk about shit that we think that the other boys can relate to. Okay? So it had nothing to do with, I wasn't making any point that, okay, well, you should kids at that age at 11 or 12 would be in a relationship. I'm saying that as kids normally develop, they start to become aware of the opposite sex. And they start to become attracted to the opposite sex. And the boy who asked Shawn James, did he have a girlfriend, was a nigga that was attracted to the opposite sex. Just like you were attracted to the opposite sex. It may not have been in your classroom, but it was in comic books and it was on TV. You were attracted to the opposite sex. So why is it so out of the realm of possibility for another dude to come up and ask him, hey, you got a girlfriend? Why? Because he's attracted to the opposite sex. Why is that so hard for you to get?
He was triggered, Tony. Shit, man. Old bougie ass nigga. Let's go.
Mackcity doesn't take this into consideration because he doesn't have to. Mackcity comes across as being a traditional, old school black gentleman, and I say gentleman as the most respectable term I can, because he just seems like a trad con. He just seems like a guy who hasn't put much thought into the progression of relationships and the advancement of human interaction.
Oh, Lord.
Because,
I can't even pretend to know what he's talking about. I don't even pretend to know.
Okay, he got me there. What the fuck is a trad con?
I don't know what a trad con is. I don't know what that shit is.
He got me on that one.
He got me on that one. I don't know what a trad con is.
I might have to reach out to some of my other Mgtow partners. That sounds like a Mgtow, like some sort of abbreviation or shit, man.
It must have something to do with traditional. Whatever it is, it must have something
traditional
to do with
conservative?
Maybe that's it. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know what
you got me, Fox. You got me, man. I'm feeling stupid right now, man. You know what I'm saying? My ebonics I can't filter that one out. Right? Let's go.
Yeah.
When we used to court each other in the 80s from today in 2018 has significantly changed with Twitter, with
Wait a minute.
Bumble.
Shawn James' experiences was from the 80s.
Right.
Shawn James' experience took place in the 80s.
Shit.
Shawn James isn't that much older than we are.
Well, I think his point is that, Shawn James' philosophy is much more evolved than ours because Shawn James is taking into account that it's a new day and age. But once again, this nigga never actually paid attention to our body of work, so he don't really know what our views and our perspectives are. You know what I mean? I just said, fuck. When I listen to Shawn James, I agree with 95% of the shit that the nigga is spitting.
We said that in the other videos too, but of course he didn't listen to but the first 10%.
Right? Of course, yeah, but of course he couldn't listen to the other ones because they in our Patreon.
And he didn't listen to the one where I said, well, I see myself in Shawn James. You didn't hear that either, did you? No, because you only listened to 10% of the damn video.
Because he was triggered. His nigga was triggered. Like, they talking about incels and I'm an incel. Let's go.
On social media significantly changed. So to compare those two, to compare Shawn James's experience of being a child in the 80s to me right now, who was a child in the early 2000s, is completely, totally different. And I know I'm speaking from my perspective, but that's the only perspective that I can speak from, which is why I understand how Mac took the position that he did. It's just not a logical conclusion to come to. Because what Mac is doing is he's being a fucking grade A hypocrite. And I'm going to let him show you how. Excuse me.
Oh, I can wait. Ooh.
In that time when he came of age, in the South Bronx of all places, you understand? 11 or 12 years old, that's what, 1983, 1984? That's the beginning of the crack era. That's the beginning of the dysfunctionality in black homes. Well, the evolution of dysfunction in black homes, because it started under the regime of welfare in all fairness. Right. But Shawn James assumes that everyone has the same upbringing that he has. So while he's different,
I don't think Shawn James assumed that. I think that Mac assumed that and therefore subjected Shawn James to his assumption.
He can't respect the fact that the guys that he's communicating with are different. He also doesn't understand an attempt that could possibly be an attempt to relate to him. Because the boys that are asking him these questions, not only are they trying to determine what kind of person you are, they could be trying to determine whether they can relate to you. You understand?
Right.
But he skipped all over that. He just immediately thought that they were trying to ridicule him. And because he had no means to respond, his manhood was in jeopardy, or his masculinity was in jeopardy. You understand? So he went into flight mode. He didn't even try to fight. He went into flight mode. He didn't even try to defend himself. He went into flight mode, and he quickly saw them as the aberration.
If Mac ever gets back to me, the overall message I want to deliver is, how do you defend yourself in that situation? What would Mac's response be if somebody asked him that in 1983? What would his response be to being 11 years old and asking, hey man, do you have a girlfriend? What is the proper defense to that? Like, go mind your own business? Like, I don't get it.
Okay, let me get back to him.
All right.
I'm going to respond to you. You said if I get back to you, I'm getting back to you. Somebody did ask me that question. Matter of fact, they asked me that question several times. Shit, one time I lied and said yes. One time I told them it was none of their damn business. And that's what it was. I stood up for myself. That's how I responded to that. I didn't just fold and run away and wonder, well, why aren't they asking me about comic books?
Right.
I didn't just fold and say, well, why aren't they asking me about Marvel action figures? Why aren't they asking me, about football teams? Why aren't they asking me about basketball? Or why aren't they asking me about, something that I can relate to? Because I understood what they meant when they asked me that question.
Okay.
And what happened to Shawn James when he didn't answer that? What did Shawn James said happened to him when he didn't answer that question?
Shit, he got fucked with.
Then he said they was coming to his locker, throwing his shit out on his locker, stealing his shit.
Right.
That's what happened to him when he didn't stand up to those boys. They started fucking with him. Why? Because they thought that they could fuck with him. So in answer to your question, now that I'm getting back to you, you stand up for yourself. I don't care if the answer is no. You tell them, if you want to tell them it's none of your damn business, it's none of your damn business. And whatever come with it, come with it.
Right. Proceed.
Not understanding that they see him as the aberration. You understand? So Shawn James is at this point in his life becoming delusional to the world around him.
At 11 years old, Shawn James is becoming delusional to the world around him.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's becoming delusional to the world around him. Because he don't even know when he has become prey. He don't even know when he's standing in front of a damn predator. Yes, he has become delusional to the world around him. At 11 years old.
Oh, shit. Damn.
He don't even understand when he's a victim. Yes, he's delusional.
Ooh, simmer down now.
And that's exactly what they did to him. They victimized him.
Whoa.
That's exactly what happened. Go back and listen to your daddy's video. And listen to where he said when they were stealing his stuff and throwing his shit out on the line and fucking with him, and they were constantly ridiculing him every day. When are you going to get a girlfriend? When are you going to sleep with someone? That's a direct quote, by the way. Go back and listen to his video and let him tell you what happened to him. Since you don't want to believe what we say, since we put words in his mouth, go back and listen to what he said happens to him.
Bottom line is, these little experiences that happen, bit by bit, form and shape your perception of the world around you, nigga. It's like, even if you're 11, it starts when you come out the womb, bruh. Everything that you experience, no matter how small, no matter how insignificant, all of this shit forms and shapes your perception of the world around you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, at 10 or 11 or 12, things happen to you that form and shape your opinion about things in the real world.
And he gave that example earlier. He talked about young girls being raped and molested. That shapes their view of men. From the time that they're 11 or 12 and sometimes earlier than that.
Oh my God. Let's proceed, man.
Elevated himself above them cats.
Yes,
you know
he
what I'm
did.
saying? Yeah, he did.
And that's the part. That's the part that causes people to fuck with you.
Right.
You understand? That's the part that causes people to fuck with you.
Yeah, he said, you know, I found that peculiar. You know what I mean? That they would actually ask that question. And it's like, you know, like why would that be peculiar? You look young boys, you know what I mean?
That's what young boys do. You see
what
what
I'm like? What you mean that's peculiar, man? That's par for the course, man.
So I understood why that other guy, the second guy, didn't fucking speak the entire time. Listening to him and his ebonics is fucking atrocious, and I'm actually surprised that he actually enunciated.
Oh shit, man. Oh, this is a bougie ass nigga right here, man. Yes, you right. My whole crew know I got that buckwheat, man. Man, my whole crew know I got that buckwheat popping off, boy. But it is what it is, bougie ass nigga. You know, I am who I am. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna bring that heat, even through my ebonics, my bad enunciations or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, listen to this nigga, man. Mgtow Fox, we gonna give you that work, man. And I gotta agree with you, man. Yeah, it is hard to listen to me. I'll give you that one. You know, if there's anything on here that you were possibly correct on, it would be this. Big Mike is not necessarily what you would call a master orator. Shit, you want to proceed on that? Just proceed. Just go ahead.
Just go ahead.
Just go ahead. This bougie ass, bitch ass nigga.
He did some of the words properly, but I don't want to bully people.
You can't bully
The
anybody.
problem with what Mac and this other strange man is saying is that in no way, shape, or form did Shawn James for any of that. They did it, and then they subjected to Shawn James to what they're believing. In no way, shape, or form could they have known what Shawn James, in the context of which the boys were speaking to him. So, we know that men like to form hierarchies. Perhaps they were forming a hierarchy, asking Shawn James if he had a girlfriend in order to lower his status, in order to sort of size him up.
Excuse me.
No.
That's exactly what they were doing. That's exactly what they did. And that's exactly what he said they did. They were forming a hierarchy. And they determined that he was at the bottom of that hierarchy. And because he was at the bottom of that hierarchy, he got fucked with every day. That's exactly what they do. And that's exactly what they did. So this isn't anything that we came to. This is what he said. This is what Shawn James... Did you listen to... No, I'm sorry.
No,
you didn't listen to it.
Nah.
We responded to what he said in his video. This is what Shawn James is saying happened to him. So if you got a problem with what we said, you need to take that up with your daddy.
Your speech is atrocious.
Mac doesn't fucking think of that because he's not trying to step into Shawn James' shoes. He's standing from his point of view, looking from the outside in. Anyone can tell you that that's a faulty fucking belief system. That's a... excuse me. That's not the way you're going to find the answer to this situation. But Mac isn't... He's not interested in the answer to the situation. What he's interested in is in clickbait and in views. He has a specific type of audience that he's appeasing to, and it's black men, older black men who don't sort of understand Mgtow and why men are walking away from women and why we're shunning women. Earlier, he talked about how the welfare regime or the welfare state attributed to the downfall of the black family, but he doesn't take into consideration feminism or no-fault divorce. Why? I just don't think he's smart enough to even factor in.
Listen to how stupid that is. He up here talking about some shit he don't know anything about. We did a podcast on no-fault divorce, nigga. We did a podcast on marriage laws, nigga. We did a podcast on alimony, nigga. We did a podcast called Marriage is Tricking, nigga. We did that shit back in 2010 when you were a kid, nigga.
Your speech is atrocious.
No.
Nigga right here, what? All right, let's go.
Equations, just like he was in fact smart enough to factor in hierarchies of young boys.
No. Your daddy wasn't smart enough to factor in hierarchy of young boys. Your daddy didn't understand he was being punked. We knew what it was. We told him what it was.
God damn, man. Woo-wee, boy. This nigga right here, boy, they kill me with that shit, man. Well, they didn't talk about this, they did talk about that. You know, but see, that's the thing. If we would have factored in all that other extra shit, then I would have extended the video to 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
You sure wouldn't have listened to it,
You damn sure wouldn't have rocked with that shit, would you, Fox? Because that's just too goddamn long, buddy.
Yeah, you don't have that kind of time.
That's fucking too long, buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking atrocious, buddy.
The current scenario. So my whole thing is that they're trying to make Shawn James become this weak beta male type of man, but Shawn James is just interested in child. You know, he has childlike interests, bro. He's fucking 11 to 12 years old. You know, you're expecting too much of this guy. And now, as he's matured and grown into a full-grown man who's at least 30, Shawn James has, you know, stayed away from women, and he found that to be his best choice of life, and it's not through a lack of trying. Do you mean to tell me throughout this whole life, you believe that Shawn James never once tried to interact with a woman? You believe that he just ran and hid him?
That ain't that's not the point,
That's
nigga.
not the point.
The point is Shawn James is pointing his fingers at other men, calling them simps, manginas, and betas. And you can't do that when you obviously you are a mangina and you are a beta. Why? Because you can't get no pussy, man. You can't get no pussy. I'm pretty sure he's tried to get pussy. But you can't motherfucker talk about how everybody out there is second choice when it comes to getting at bitches.
And you second choice.
And you second choice. That's our problem with this nigga, man.
Shawn James himself said what happened when he tried to talk to a woman. Mm-hmm. Shawn James, see, that's because, again, you didn't listen. If you go back and listen to the video that we replied to, Shawn James said that women looked at him and felt sorry for him. And he knew what they meant when they were saying that. When Shawn James heard them say that they were sorry for him, most men know what that really means. What it means is they pity you. And when they pity you, they don't respect you. Now, Shawn James did say that. He said that they didn't respect him. He knew they didn't respect him when they told him that. Okay? So when Shawn James, the one instance on YouTube when Shawn James talked about his encounter with a woman, it was a woman that had no respect for him as a man.
Man, this nigga, man, he all over the place. He has not done not one lick of due diligence,
I don't even think he listened to Shawn James's
I don't think he has either, man.
I think he got,
just
speaking
triggered?
of clickbait, he got triggered by the title,
Incel.
The Rise of the Born Incel.
And his feelings, got in his feelings.
Yeah.
And he just decided to get on here and he listened to like 20, 25 minutes. And his heart couldn't even take that 20, 25 minutes.
It was too painful.
Too traumatic for this nigga, man.
I understand it's painful. What did the man say in Malcolm X? Let it burn. Nigga, let it burn.
Let it burn, little nigga. Shit. Your speech is atrocious. Bougie, nigga.
Every single time you saw them, it's just not a reasonable or a logical conclusion. What this is it's clickbait. They're using Shawn James and they're parading him around on the back of a donkey. Just for views and subscriptions.
Oh my god!
If you look at the original video of Max, which I will provide, he provides no links to the Shawn James video because he doesn't feel like he has to.
He's
Shawn
already
James
gone
just
over
a bitch
that,
out there who's going to make him a couple of dollars. He's going to make some good content.
Oh my god, man! These niggas, boy, they are just so full of themselves, man. Really, it's like he's attacking Shawn James because he's a big time YouTuber. Once again, the formula is go at Tommy Sotomayor or go at, I don't know, ABL.
Yeah.
You know, go at somebody, that's big. Shawn James is not big.
He's not.
And once again, we are showing, proving that we are not in this for the clicks because we are responding to you. Nigga, you got one view.
No. We wouldn't do that.
This is not the clowning, man. This is facts. This is facts. This is basically what we talking about, man. When we talking about, we are not in this for the clickbait or the views or the money or whatever. Mr. Fox has one view. He posted this shit 2 days ago. and from what I see, he has 4 subscribers. So if this is the case,
we will not be responding.
And we are responding to this nigga because his daddy had a totally different perception. His daddy said that me and you was weak sauce.
He said we were minstrels.
Yeah, we were minstrels, so we don't even deserve a response.
That's what he said.
And he did not put our names in the title. He did not provide a link to us. Why? Because we're insignificant.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Shawn James, when he made a response to us, he didn't feel the need to go ahead and put our shit in the comment section or in the the description box.
Yeah,
and we're not looking for that. We don't give a fuck about that. When you say stupid shit, we coming at you. We gonna give you that work, and that's why Mr. Fox, with his 1 view and his 4 subscribers, is getting this work because it's not about us getting clicks. Do you understand that?
But that's what you did to us, though. Our name is in your title, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Let's go.
The thing about the Mgtow community is you're talking to a plethora of men with a plethora of experience. You know, you're not just talking to one Mgtow and therefore you're talking to all of them. You know, we believe differently. We have different philosophies, and I believe that Shawn James knew exactly what he was fucking talking about. And especially being a man, a fully grown man, and wording his experience the way he did, I believe that he did know he was talking about. You'd be a fool to believe that there wasn't some sort of malicious intent. Or if those weren't backhanded compliments. Or just a prodding question. I believe that Shawn James wasn't out of the ordinary to be a single man at 11 and 12 years old. I believe that Mac has a completely skewered...
We didn't even talk.
Say what?
Jesus. We were talking about Shawn James's relationship at that time to his environment. If Shawn James was a single, most 11-year-old boys were probably single. What we were talking about is Shawn James's naivety. Again, not to beat a dead horse, we were talking about Shawn James's inability to understand the environment around him. That's all we were talking about. Okay? So, just go ahead.
Let's go.
He got 1 minute and 42 left, and it ain't 1 minute and 42 too soon.
View of the world, and therefore he's projecting that view of the world, which isn't even his own, which is just a simple, traditional tradcon view of the world that is probably his parents gave to him, or somebody instilled to him. It's not a philosophy that he discovered on his own. And he's now just parroting back to some fucking uneducated fucking... I don't even want to call the guy uneducated. He's probably very educated. He's just fucking not articulate. Some unarticulate fucking guy who also adheres to the same philosophy.
Oh, you talking about me?
Yeah,
So
talking about
Mac
you.
must think he's some sort of...
Mgtow, what we getting on that?
God damn it, Fox! You some of the big, very unarticulate.
He talking about shoving on somebody. Did Mgtow just fall out of the sky, nigga? Or did you get that from somebody? Or was that thrust on you? Did you come up with that on your own? No, somebody gave it to you. You just sat up here and said that other men, you gave examples of other men, Tesla,
Right.
Sir Isaac Newton. So even your mentality, you would be a trad con. Your philosophy isn't new. There have been men ever since the age of the Greeks. Of course, there was a society that was very big on homosexuality. That was a society that questioned feminine nature. That was a society of Mgtow going its own way. So you're not the first. Your philosophy is not new. You just think it's new because you just got it yesterday. But it's been here, Playboy. There's nothing new under the sun. Not even Mgtow. As a matter of fact, your Mgtow gods, your white Mgtow gods, who do they tell you was the original Mgtow?
Black men.
Black men.
Black men.
So you got your Mgtow from the trad cons. There's nothing original or innovating about Mgtow. The principles of Mgtow have been lived for centuries. You were just the first ones to come up with a snappy acronym. You ain't doing nothing slick.
Oh shit! I'm in my feelings over here, man. Niggas said I'm inarticulate.
Inarticulate,
man. Shit, man.
And if it's anybody inarticulate, not just inarticulate, but just plain out illogical.
Hey man, Fox roasted the shit out of me with that. He got me on that one, Fox. I gotta submit. I gotta acquiesce to that, man. I'm, the ebonics is real, and the buckwheat is real, but it's okay. We gonna continue. Let's go.
Of high school football player, the quarterback, the coolest guy in town, to believe that he's above ridicule.
Wait, what video was this nigga listening to?
I don't know. Let's back up because I don't understand.
He said that you were speaking as though you're the cool guy, you're the jock.
He said who was speaking like that?
We are. We're speaking as though we're the cool guys and we're the jocks. Though we don't know what it's like to be ridiculed. Who are you talking to?
Well, he didn't listen to the video.
He didn't listen to the video. So we out and out admitted that we were so-called beta males. Mm-hmm. We never hid from that.
Right.
We admitted we were not the women's first choice. But the only difference between us and Shawn James is that when they came for us, we fought back. That's the difference between us and Shawn James. We didn't have celibacy thrusted on us. We found a way to fuck.
You goddamn right.
You understand? That's the difference between us and Shawn James. We didn't go on a pedestal and start articulating some vision of moral purity that you were abstaining from women because you couldn't understand or you couldn't reconcile their negative characteristics or their normal characteristics of being women. We weren't repulsed by that shit. We came on out here and got in the gutter and got in the mud. And because we got in the gutter and the mud, we have understood, or we understand, and we are able to comprehend lessons that Shawn James will never be able to fathom.
Shit, shall I proceed?
Yeah, man.
All right.
Okay. We ain't got but a minute of this shit left.
If he was in Shawn James's position, that he would have a different reaction. You'd probably have the same motherfucking reaction. You'd probably be pissed. If somebody fucking asked you every time you went into the locker room, hey man, you got a girlfriend? You wouldn't be happy. Come on, let's be realistic here.
Okay, I'm gonna be realistic.
I think that this entire video is horseshit.
I am gonna be realistic, nigga. I didn't like it when they came for me, but again, when they came for me, I fought back. I didn't cower and run and go away. They didn't pat my pockets. They didn't go in my locker because I stood up for myself. No, I didn't like it when they came for me. I was in Shawn James's position. Why you think I'm saying this? Why you think I'm talking about this? I've been there. I just responded differently. I just had the balls to get them off of me, but Shawn James didn't.
This video is horse shit, man.
No, this video is horse shit.
No, our video is horse shit.
No, this video is
horse
shit.
I have to agree with Fox, man. My speech is atrocious and inarticulate, and our video is horse shit.
Running around here half red, misled, with Similac on his damn breath.
Let's
around
go.
Here trying to tell somebody about. Get the fuck out of here.
Man, he ain't
Get the fuck. You didn't listen to anything
Nothing.
We said.
Nothing.
You didn't listen to anything we said. You heard the word incel and you automatically shut down.
Incel. Oh shit, they talking about me. Me. Let's go.
And I think it's all fucking disingenuous. And it's just clickbait. I doubt I'm going to get a response. I usually don't get responses.
Oh, you wrong about that?
Produced well, and I don't have enough views. But if they ever did respond, I wouldn't be opposed to setting up some sort of online meeting.
See, this is what he really wants.
Discord.
This is what he really wants.
The fuck? The fuck, man? What happened?
You're confused about that. Something is happening.
I doubt I'm going to get a response. I usually don't get responses because my videos aren't produced well and I don't have enough views. But if they ever did respond, I wouldn't be opposed to setting up some sort of online meeting, Skype call, Discord call with Shawn James, myself, and Mac, because we're really going to dissect Mac this time around. Because,
oh, you think so?
Ooh, you heard that.
Oh, you think so?
Ooh, you heard
See,
that?
that's what you really want. That's what you really want. Well, I mean, I would not be opposed to a Google Hangout, but I don't want to talk to you niggas on the phone. But if you want to do a Google Hangout with us, I'll do one, and there's no way you can dissect me because I've already aired everything out. There's nothing I have to hide. I've aired everything out. So there's nothing you and Shawn James could say to me that would dice me up.
Right.
Absolutely nothing. So when you come for me, you won't have very far to go because I'll be right here. I won't run from you and Shawn James with your 4 subscribers and your 9 views. So you said you didn't think we would respond to you. Well, you were wrong about that, nigga.
And this should fly in the face of your theory of us doing shit strictly for views. Because we definitely ain't gonna get no views out of it. Well, I don't know. We might get some views out of this.
No, he's gonna get more views than
well, of course he gonna get more views and shit, man. But you know, our crew, you know, they like nigga shit. This gonna be in the vein of some nigga shit. You know what I'm saying? So this video might do some numbers and shit because they like to see us roast niggas. You know what I mean? But Mr. Fox, man, look, check it out, man. We don't have no problem hitting you up, putting your shit in the description box, even putting your name in the title. I don't know. Should we do that or
no, don't put? We could say responding to a Mgtow critic or something like that.
You know, because it's real problematic because niggas getting their feelings and they want to flag and shit.
Yeah,
you know
don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
But I want to put his name in the title.
Don't put his name in the title because then he'll just say we're shilling and clickbaiting off of his goddamn 4 subscribers. You see what I'm saying?
I don't mind him saying that we clickbaiting off his 4 subscribers, man.
No, I don't.
It's all good.
No, I don't want to give that nigga that kind. I don't want to give him that kind of shine because you start to make him think he's more important than what he really is. You see what I'm saying?
See, so now you sound like Shawn James.
No, please.
We don't want to be like Shawn James.
No. I'm not running from him. So if he wants to do a debate, I'll do a debate with this guy and Shawn James. Because again, we air it all out.
I said no. Shawn James said that we was insignificant.
Yeah, he did. He said we were minstrels. Exactly. He said he was stepping over weak, jealous beta males. That's what he said. So I doubt he will come on anywhere. But if he wants to, I'll debate Shawn James. I'll debate you or anybody else because again, I don't have anything to hide because that shit you talking about has no relevance to our podcast. It has no relevance to what we said. Matter of fact, it's a complete aberration to anything that we discussed in the past 3 podcasts. It's not even relevant. You're talking about you're trying to make arguments that we never made. You trying to say some shit we never said.
Man, for real.
So if you just want a showdown or you just want to create this dramatic, this anticlimactic moment where you just meet the horrible niggas from Mackcity that just ridicule your hero, I won't run from you, son. I'll be right here.
Boy, okay, check it out. This is what I gotta do, man. There was someone else in the comment section. I gotta read off his comment. Let me see here. So you've been responding to Mr. Peter, huh?
Yeah, I responded.
Oh, okay.
I responded to him.
Okay, well, let me see here. Let me read off what Mr. Peter said, because I think it's kind of relevant to what we're talking about here. Reynold Peter Sandoz states, points talked about in this video only applies if there's no government involved. In the day and age where feminists pretty much dominate the government, nobody is safe. You can play the so-called manly card as much as you want until they call daddy government. Good luck with that. FYI, Mgtow is in opposition to the system. Shoot. I don't know. Did you want to... Because when I looked at this statement a couple days ago, it wasn't all this. It was a much longer statement.
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, but what I said is this: the government doesn't have anything to do with you standing up for yourself and being a man.
Right.
The government doesn't have anything to do with that.
Right.
The government doesn't have anything to do with an interpersonal relationship that you have with a woman.
Right.
That is trying to assess whether or not she want to fuck you. Okay? The government doesn't have anything to do with that. The government doesn't have anything to do with your relationship with other people in your community. Now, being cognizant of the fact that both of you may be in the same socioeconomic class, being of the understanding to a certain extent that the community is in fact formed by structural economic inequality. I get that. But we're talking about interpersonal relationships, one between the other. Now, if you want to talk about this whole thing about how women don't need men because they have welfare, because they have food stamps, or they are more promiscuous, so they're more, promiscuous, they're more, their sexual desire has been unchained as a result of Roe v. Wade and the birth control pill. If you want to talk about that, okay, maybe you have a point, but that wasn't what that was. That situation that we talked about with Shawn James had nothing to do with the government. That had everything to do with a little boy picking on him because he thought he was different. And the measuring stick for determining whether he was different was whether or not he was relating to men, whether or not he was going through the development that they were going through. Now, Shawn James said he was different, and that wasn't where his head was. He had every right to be himself. He had every right to pursue his own path. But what we're saying is that Shawn James should have had the awareness to understand that there are times in life that you stick up for yourself, that you defend yourself. Should you go to war over every provocation? No, you should not. But there are some things, there are some times in life that you have to stand up for yourself. And in standing up for yourself, you learn a very, very important part of being a man. And that very important part of being a man is overcoming your fears. That ain't got shit to do with the government. You understand? But you have some niggas, again, going back to the natural mental facilities that are needed to detect conspiracies and betrayals, tend to erode natural judgment. Something like that should have been so damn blatantly obvious what we were talking about. Now, how he got on the shit about the government and all of this and Big Daddy government when this was just an encounter between two 11-year-old boys. How he took that there, I'll never know.
Not to mention the fact that the shit that he's spitting, man, that shit he touching on, we done touched on that
years
shit
ago.
ad nauseum, man.
Years ago.
Shit that we actually agree on.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we agree. All that shit is problematic, man.
They're getting in their feelings because they hear the word incel. And they're in their feelings because we're saying incel is not something to be. But if you want to be an incel, we've all said let each man practice the art that pleases him, that fits him. If you want to be an incel dude, knock yourself out and be an incel. But what I'm saying to a lot of these other brothers out here, don't languish in the corner like sniveling cowards because you're afraid of a woman's the dark essence or the dark aspect of a woman's sexual nature. Learn about that shit and use that shit to your advantage.
She gonna sperm jack you, Tony. Gonna sperm jack you. Hey, Dick, over here in Mackcity, man, I ain't giving the other players no excuses to be no bitch, man. We not gonna do it. Not gonna do it over here. And if you over here rocking with us, man, you gotta man up. You gotta boss up. Man, you got to win by any means necessary.
Any means necessary.
Man.
Do an R. Kelly on the bitch. Call me daddy. You understand? You find a way to win. Don't you sit in the corner like some sniveling damn incel, afraid of a woman, afraid of a woman's dark side or afraid of the dark side of female sexuality. Don't you hide in the sewer like rats, like a damn Morlock, afraid to even come up and say boo to a woman. Don't you do that. You learn what you need to learn and you conquer. You become a conqueror. That's what we stand for. That's what we represent. Yeah, you may be afraid, but you overcome that fear. You overcome that fear and you find a way to win. That is what we're about. Now, if you want to get mixed up in this shit about alpha and beta male and you want to let that fuck with you and you want to let that fuck with your self-esteem, that's on you. But that's really some shallow shit. At the end of the day, people want to know, did you win? That's all they're interested in is what did you do? And what they're saying is what they did. Well, we didn't do anything. We just went our own way. Again, the extreme sector. We didn't do anything. We just went our own way. We were just afraid of women, and so we just withdrew. Well, fuck it. Maybe Xbox is a better option for you. So if Xbox is a better option for you, then go play your Xbox. Go huddle and cower in the sewer like rats. But that's not what I'm going to tell anybody to do.
No,
I'm not going to tell anybody.
This is the funny thing, man. It's like, we dealing with the whole concept of alpha and beta. And, niggas in the comments section talking about, yeah, man, when the government come for you, good luck, nigga. You know what I mean? When your woman turn on you in the government. I'm like, look, man, look. Shit. Tony, have you ever seen my ex-wife kick up dust and go to the government on me?
Nope.
Have you ever heard any stories of someone pilfering my bank account trying to get child support and all of that shit? You know why that doesn't happen? Wow. Now look, this is coming from a beta male. Like I said, I'm a beta with alpha traits. I come off more alpha than the niggas out here who claim that they alpha. Because most of these alpha niggas out here, I guess they haven't come to the conclusion that they can't fuck with me, man, on this level, man. Because like I said, I don't have any problems out of no bitches I fuck with. But these alpha niggas, they in and out of court. These alpha niggas, they got mass problems with the police. They got
in and out of jail.
In and out of jail. Bitches all in their pockets fucking with them and shit. You know what I mean? So, look, it can be done. You can man up. You can boss up. You can look your broad in the face and be like, this is how it's going to be. This is what's going on. And I want to hear your shit. You know what I mean? Like I said, right now, man, let me see. Shit, I've been separated from my wife since 2008. Never, ever has she called the police on me or she said, look, I need extra money or put me in the court or whatever. It's because I'm a goddamn man. And I ain't playing that shit. And I told her, I'm like, bitch, the day you pull me in the court is a day you better goddamn get you a panic room because I'm going to blow your fucking brains out. She was like, and she knows I'm not playing. I'm not playing with you, bitch. I'm not fucking playing with you. Shit, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's how it goes down with Big Mike, with my inarticulate,
Mac, you sounded very articulate there.
That's right, goddammit. You fucking play with me if you want, bitch. I'm not playing with you. Yeah, trying to have me destitute out here, homeless with no cheese, bitch. See what happens. You know what I mean? Yeah, and she know I'm about that, nigga. I'm not playing no games with you, bitch. You know, but I don't really have to threaten her like that because I've always been a stand-up dude. And, I'm going to always take care of my business. I'm going to always take care of my seeds, always take care. Even though we are still officially married, we have been separated since 2008. But I don't have the problems that all these other niggas have,
you mean
right?
You don't have no fear of her?
No, I fear is no bitch, nigga. Fear is no bitch, man. What the fuck wrong with these niggas? Like I said, in Mackcity, I'm not giving none of the players no sort of wiggle room to act like no broad, man. Act like no bitch. It's not happening, man. You know what I mean? Find a way to win. Find a way to win.
That's what it's all about.
And goddamn it, Big Mike will win in the end. Time is my friend. I ain't playing no games, man. So if you want to be a soft ass nigga, Mr. Fox, with all that little gay ass shit you talking, you know what I mean? But like I said, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna give you that shine, nigga. I'm gonna put your name in the description box or whatever. You know what I mean? So niggas can see your video. You know what I mean? Like I said, this ain't about clicks. This is all about, stepping into the arena, man. That's all it is. Step into the arena, sit your ass in that barbershop chair, get your hair cut, nigga. Shit, you gonna cut your hair, boy. That's what we gonna do. So, with that being said, Tony, give you parting words before we roll up out of here.
I'm done. I don't have anything else to say. Again, he didn't listen to our video. He only listened to what he said 10, 20 minutes, and that's all he could stand. And this is what happens when you're unfamiliar with your opposition. A standard tactic of war is to know whom you're dealing with, know your opposition. And you know nothing about us. You just got triggered because we were talking about incels. And so you came for us not knowing who we are. All that stuff you talked about, we talked about that shit back in 2010 and 11, arguably before you even made it to YouTube. Okay? So you don't know our history. You don't know anything about us. You misstated.
Shit, 90%
90% of what we said. I don't even think you listened to what Shawn James said. I don't even think you understood what Shawn James said, because all of our reaction, it wasn't anything that we came to, or whatever we came to was based on his statement. Because right after we described what we observed or our critique, Shawn James turned right around and validated and verified everything we said.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So you didn't listen to anything. You just you were just in your feelings about something, and I understand. You're young. I understand. So, with that being said, powerandstrategy.com. That's a cheap plug for my black nationalist website, powerandstrategy.com. If you want to get at me, and if you want to send me an email, little dude, you can get me at wayofstrategy44@gmail.com. I'm gonna give it to you one more again, wayofstrategy44@gmail.com. If you want to email me or hit me up, you can also go to my website if you want to and leave a comment, and just send it to me, and it'll come to me if that's what you want to do. My PayPal is also wayofstrategy44@gmail.com. My Patreon is Power of Strategies. Like, share, and subscribe. Like and share my articles, and subscribe to my website. And that's all I got to say. You got my website, so if you want to hit me up, I'm the DJ. He's the rapper. I'm the DJ. He's the rapper. That's the Fat Mac. I'm Tony Maceo. Okay, so now you at least know who you're talking to.
You need to have a motherfucking sense to be able to flesh out who the fuck was speaking and shit. But let me tell you something. Look, man, I don't know. This might be like 2 hours. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if Mr. Fox has the patience to go through a 2-hour video with his name attached to it. What do you think?
He gonna listen to 10 minutes of it. He'll probably show up in the comment section. I know he'll probably hit one of us up because he wants to debate. That's what he wants. If you want to debate with me, son, we can do a Google Hangout. I'll debate with you. I'll figure out how the shit work, and I'll do a debate with you. I'm not gonna run from you because again, I've aired everything out. I'm honest about what I say, and I can back up what I say. So I'm not concerned or afraid of you or your daddy.
But see, that's the thing, man. You know, people want us to debate Shawn, and they want us, and he wants us to debate him. But there is no debate because really, we really agree with each other for the most part.
Exactly.
On a lot of things.
He wants his 15 minutes. Okay, we have said that we don't have any contention against Shawn James. Shawn James, and for that point, the Mgtow community is right in their certain assessments and observation of female nature. We have never said that they were wrong. We just said we're not as extreme as they are. We just said we didn't want to go to a future where we were fucking robots. That's what we said. We said we didn't want a future where we didn't have or have the opportunity to be next to a woman. I like women. I'm gonna tell you, I like women. So I don't want a future like that. I don't want a future where there are no women. If you want that, knock yourself out. Go join a monastery, become a monk. All y'all go into the hills. Do what you do. But I don't want that. You understand? So just like I respect your position, respect mine. You know, so I'm done. We can close this out. I know we're going to have to part 1 and part 2 it, but I'm done with this dude. And again, I'm going to give you my email address again, wayofstrategy44@gmail.com. Or you can put yours in this, which I'm sure you'll probably hear it, or you'll probably only listen to 10 minutes of it, and put your shit in the comment section, you know, which I expect you will. You didn't expect an answer, but you got one. There it is.
Shit. Hey, he came to our thread, man. He came to our video and posted his links and that shit, son. He said he wants some attention, nigga. So, hey, that's what's up, man. Hey, I appreciate you, man. You know, hopefully you'll be a good sport about this, Mr. Fox. You know, you'll take this ass whooping like a man. But, yeah, everything will be in the description box because we want money. You know what I mean? So, the PayPal and the Patreon will be in the description box for the fellas.
Shilling.
Yeah, we shilling. You know, especially like the Patreon for cats. I wanted to, because I've been getting, yeah, I guess he would be right in this instance because cats been asking about the Shawn James video. Like, man, where's the Shawn James videos at? Once again, I had to hide them in my Patreon because niggas was in their feelings and shit. So, if anybody want to listen to any of the Shawn James roastings, you know what I'm saying? Because we did have to roast this nigga, especially on one of them. They are in the Patreon. The PayPal links is up. If you want to go ahead and look at my life and times, as far as me being a cyber pimp, me hustling in these streets for like 10, 11 years, you can go to Mackcity.com so you can see that this ain't no fairy tale, that everything I say is right and exact and it's real. You know what I mean? Yeah, go to Mackcity.com. That is back up and running. The Patreon is up. Especially with the Patreon, right now I'm uploading basically audio of the show. There's not going to be too much video other show as far as doing videos on YouTube, because I just gotta upload all the backlog of audio shows first, man. I gotta knock that out. Cat's been asking about when am I gonna do the blueprint show, where I showed how I basically made a machine, a never-ending revolving door, just endless pussy coming in. You know what I mean? That's coming soon. I said probably about another 2 weeks. I just got so much shit I gotta upload in that Patreon, man. You know, that shit is just on the back burner. Be patient, fellas. My patrons, be patient. The shit is coming. I'm gonna make some really nice, some real good content, man, on the video tip up in that Patreon. Just let me upload all these audio shows first, man. And let me see here. Yeah, that'll be it, man. Thanks to all the players coming through. Appreciate y'all parlaying with us once again. And yes, Mr. Fox, we will, like I said, we don't have no problems with giving you some exposure with our close to 3,000 subs. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, you know, if you fuck around and get 100 subs, you might get you a nice little following off this, man. You never know. So, we done, Tony?
I'm going to close out with a quote.
Okay.
A nation that does most of its fighting with its scholars and most of its thinking with warriors will produce a nation of enlightened cowards.
Say it again.
A nation that does most of its fighting with its scholars and does most of its thinking with its warriors will produce a generation of enlightened cowards.
Oh, okay. My inarticulate self is trying to process this. That is profound, Tony. It is deeply profound, sir. So that's it?
That's it. I'm done.
We out. We out. We out. We out. We out.